you guys find that sound clip, by the way?
We got that from Kevin was actually in a band once upon a time, like when he was back in high school.
Yeah. That doesn't shock me.
Yeah, I was about to say, it probably doesn't surprise anyone, right? And that was like the intro for one of their songs.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's so good for what you guys actually use it for.
Right.
It's so catchy.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's pretty catchy, and it gets the people going.
Yeah. Yeah, every time.
Yeah. I figure one day, it's probably due for an update of some sort. I'm like, one day I'll do it. It's just today is not that day.
I don't know. I really like it.
Yeah.
It's classic.
Mm-hmm.
Really good. I think it sets the tone really well. And it's just good. I
think it's cool and it's relaxing and it's
It's like House of the Dragon season 2. It gets you really prepared for what's coming up.
Okay. I was wondering where you're going with that.
Yeah, but then we actually give you the...
Yeah, that's true. It would be different if we gave you 2 hours of that intro, and then
that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's like listen to the next... We'll release the next episode of the podcast in 2 years.
Right. By the way, for all of you both listening and watching, be sure to check out the House of the Dragon Season 2 review. Both the YouTube is up, and by the time you guys hear this audio, the audio will also be up for House of the Dragon Season 2 as well.
Yeah, if you're joining us on video, welcome. As you can tell, I'll probably tell, I am very excited for DragonCon.
Yeah, for those of you who don't recognize the print on the Homie Caleb shirt, this is all Marriott.
Yeah, this is Marriott carpet, and it's almost time. When we were at the theater the other day, I think I wore this to Deadpool and Wolverine.
I think so.
No, I didn't. It was when I went to go see Twisters.
Oh,
there was actually a person working behind the counter, and she was like, I love your Marriott carpet stuff. I had the whole outfit on, actually. And I was like, DragonCon? She's like, of course, yeah. So, very cool.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, what percentage of people would just pick that out who aren't associated with DragonCon?
Yeah, I'm sure there is probably some super fringe part of the internet where there are people who just love this carpet and it has nothing to do with DragonCon for some reason, which would be weird. I was going to say, are you going to get any amazing DragonCon messages about crazy guests? I told the head of the High Fantasy track is on my Facebook.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and she probably thinks I'm annoying because I have a tendency to make things about the costume. But anyway,
you?
What? I told her that we stopped a live podcast.
Yeah.
Dead in its tracks, and I dropped my phone when I saw that shit.
Goddamn hobbits.
Yeah. Every time.
News slightly related to DragonCon or conventions in general. I was over here just the other day, and I was either editing or uploading an episode or something. And as I'm sitting right here, like right there in my view, is that poster. It's not on camera. It's the Days of Future Past poster from the comic. And it got me thinking, man, like, I'm surprised that there aren't more cosplays of that Wolverine. Because that one is...
It's so easy to do.
It's so easy to do. And it's stylish as fuck.
Do you know why there's not more cosplays of that Wolverine?
Because it would be hot as hell.
Because it's hot as fuck. Most of your Wolverines at DragonCon is just the pants and the claws.
Yeah, or just the wife beater.
Yeah.
Yeah, the blue jeans, yeah.
It depends on how hard you worked on that.
That's true.
Wolverine body.
Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. I'm really shocked that, not only am I shocked that they never did this cover as one of the posters for that, but I'm also shocked that Deadpool and Wolverine didn't do it. By the way, we're recording this over 2 weeks after the launch of that, so while we don't anticipate to do a ton of spoilers for it, that is the latest entry in the MCU, and since this is our Ultra Mega list, we may spoil anything in that movie and prior, so you're being warned now.
Yeah, we try to give you a fair warning here at the Superhero Homies podcast about spoilers and whatnot, but I mean, at this point, if you have any kind of social media account and you haven't seen the movie yet, you've been spoiled.
Yeah.
How do you not know about Gambit,
Right.
Or Electra, especially Gambit, though. He's got like the most online attention, it seems.
X-23.
She has as well, but she was because she was also in the trailer. So
she was in she was in the trailer, and they had her on the red carpet and all this.
Yeah,
I really wish they had kept that under wraps. I mean, it still it was still really impactful to me. Yeah. But I'm just like, the reveal in the movie would have been just insane if I hadn't gotten it spoiled for me.
Exactly,
I lost my shit.
Yeah, it would have been a great reveal had they saved it another 6 days.
Yeah,
you know,
but that's the only thing I got spoiled on. So there was plenty of other great little surprises in there.
Yeah, technically I got spoiled on the Sabretooth, but not really.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
who cares? Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I didn't really know anything going into that. Speaking of not knowing things, D23 is taking place as we speak, and D23 has always been this close to Dragon Con, hasn't it?
It always has. It's always just around this time of year. We got some good announcements last night. Daredevil Born Again is coming in March.
Yeah.
Which is honestly sooner than I expected it. Do you know if they're still doing 18 episodes?
They've been awfully quiet about that.
Yeah, because originally it was going to be 18 episodes, and a lot of people were like, wow, really? 18?
18 is a lot, and it was going to be 18 episodes and probably 16 of mid. Like that original idea they had going on for it, man, I just wasn't jiving with it.
David Zaslav is somewhere like, 18 episodes. I don't know why he sounds like Mr. Man, but 18 episodes. That's 2 seasons. Yeah.
Come on, pal.
Come on. Get him out of here.
I was able to see some of the bootleg footage they had going on though at D23, and I won't describe anything here because that would be a spoiler.
Yeah, we're not going to spoil anything past Deadpool and Wolverine.
Right.
So.
But instead, I will tell you guys like my feelings about what I saw, and the Deadpool, not Deadpool, but the Daredevil stuff looked good. I like the tone of it, and you can tell that they really put a heavy emphasis on making the audience feel comfortable with it being Daredevil from the Netflix verse, and that this isn't going to be a Disney-fied type of Daredevil. So I appreciate that. In terms of like the plot, if you guys had any idea about what the plot leaks were originally for that show, it looks like they're going to still go with something kind of similar in terms of like the overall plot beats. So, but it does look to be more grounded and gritty, like it should be. There were a lot of cameos in that trailer that you see. Yeah, most of them you can probably guess, but some of them you probably won't. But no, it looked good though, and we get to see some classic Daredevil ass whoopery there at the end, and that's always fun to see. I also saw the entire trailer for Fantastic Four.
Oh wow!
Yeah, saw that as well.
Bootleg footage, I assume.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. How are you feeling about that?
I feel that if you are into this kind of retro style movie, this trailer looks like it is the best case scenario for what it can be.
Okay. Is it retro future though?
Yeah.
Like, okay, so it's Jetsons, Fallout, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Leaning more towards Jetsons and less Fallout.
That's right. Yeah.
The one thing I will say, and I can't believe I'm saying this because I love this actor, but I'm not sold on Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic yet. And again, maybe by the time the movie comes out, I'll be more accustomed to it, and maybe he'll feel more like Reed Richards. But at this point, this is like the one role out of the many that I've seen him in where I just see Pedro Pascal and I don't see the character that he's portraying.
Yeah.
And it's not just the mustache.
Well, he's so good as Mando because you don't associate it with it really being him. And the few scenes he's done with his helmet off were tremendous. And then his Joel is incredible.
It is.
I actually don't even think about it being him.
Yeah.
But other than those two roles, it's like you said, like usually it's Pedro Pascal to me. And that's not a bad thing necessarily. I mean,
I rarely see just Pedro Pascal in his roles. Like even back in Narcos, that was the first thing I saw him in. He was tremendous in that. And then I saw him in Game of Thrones as Prince Oberyn.
Oh yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. Well, that was actually my introduction to him.
Okay.
And he's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
And, he got to die before it all went to shit.
That's true.
That season is still the best season, hands down. No question.
Who has a more gruesome death, Prince Oberyn or Joel?
Well, the story lasted a lot longer for Oberyn, like after Oberyn died
and made a lot more sense.
Yeah. I mean, as a matter of fact, Oberyn had that fight won.
Oh, he did. Yeah,
he just Spoilers for some 10-year-old Game of Thrones,
right?
So, should we get into it here?
We should. But before we do, obviously introductions are in order. Homies, one and all, welcome back to another extravagant episode of the Superhero Homies podcast. My name is Quentin, and as always, I'm here with my good friend, my brother, my homie, the homie Caleb. Welcome back.
Man, I am so excited today to talk about what we got to talk about. I mean, we've been hyping this up amongst our friend group for a little while. We decided a few months ago that, it was time to refresh the ranking, because I think the last time you guys did it, maybe Endgame was not even out yet, right?
Endgame, we had gotten Endgame and Far From Home.
So literally it was the Infinity Saga then. So quite a bit has been added to the MCU since then, and so we decided it is time to do our rankings. And with Deadpool and Wolverine coming out, we were like, well, that seems like a good point. It's the only MCU movie coming out this year, so we won't have to worry about anything raining on our parade or invalidating our list immediately.
Right.
I think the only other thing in the MCU period is going to be Agatha All Along, right?
Yep.
This year?
Yeah, that's coming out.
Yeah, so that being said, this is going to be our ultimate mega superhero homie hanger hideout MCU ranking. So what we're going to do is we have both independently compiled our own lists, and we are going to sit here and hash it out and decide the ultimate list, the definitive list. And the qualifications are basically anything that is considered the MCU. So that includes all of the Netflix shows, because they are now technically included with Daredevil entering the MCU and them confirming that that's canon. It includes things like Werewolf by Night, X-Men 97, things like that you may not necessarily think, that right. might be part of the MCU. X-Men 97 especially, the Watcher is in it. It's the exact same one from What If. All of your MCU Disney Plus stuff, including What If, all of that is on there. And, of course, all of our mainline MCU films. We did not include anything from the Sony verse. Obviously, the Marvel, produced Spider-Man movies that star Tom Holland. Those are all included, obviously. But we did not include any of the Sony verse stuff. No Venom. No Amazing Spider-Man. No Madam Web. I do have a Pepsi in my bag. Our obligatory reference. This is, and also, none of the old X-Men stuff. The only X properties that are involved here are X-Men 97 and Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yep.
So we did not include any of that. So we have 52 movies and TV shows to rank.
Yes, 52. We originally said 51, so we're not gaslighting you guys.
Yeah,
but then we remembered we forgot one. X-Men 97, actually. We were like, holy shit. Yeah. As much as we ranted and raved about that show, somehow, we forgot about it.
Well, to be fair, I found the list online, and I grabbed it and copy-pasted it, and I was like, yeah, I mean, this is about right. And I was like, oh, well, I got to add these things in.
Right.
Somehow, I didn't think about that one,
Yeah, I mean, hell, it wasn't me either.
And then, it was 2 days ago we recorded the House of the Dragon Season 2 review, and you were like, hey, we probably should put this in there. And I was like, oh, shit. So...
How ironic is it that we ended up with 52, which is the magical number for DC?
Yeah, right.
Yep. That's bizarre. James Gunn, you got to do something about that.
Maybe it's a Gambit reference instead.
Oh, okay. 52 pickup.
Yeah,
there we go. Yeah, well, we are going to make a name for ourselves here today.
So the way we're gonna do this, since there's 52, we're gonna group these into fives. So 51 and 52, obviously that's gonna be the turd burger and the shit sandwich, right? So we're gonna hash that out. I don't think that's gonna be too hard, and then we're gonna batch them in groups of 5 after that. And kind of go through it. And this is probably going to be a 2-parter. So this is going to go up through 26. And then your top 25 will be in the next episode because otherwise this is going to be insanely long.
Right. And also, go ahead and put this disclaimer here. Thankfully, you homies have never really needed this disclaimer, but with the podcast hitting a growth spurt, which is always nice, it is good to put these kind of disclaimers out there. And that is, this list is just our own opinion, very subjective. Caleb and I had the understanding. As a matter of fact, a lot of the fun is going to be where we disagree.
Which is a lot. I mean,
yeah,
a lot.
If you do not like our separate list or the list that we compiled together for this very podcast, that is okay.
As a matter of fact, it's more than okay, because what we would love for you to do is make your own list, send it to us, tell us why it's way better than our list. We would love to look at that.
Yeah. So if you guys have your own list, even if you don't want to do the whole thing, if you just want to do your top 10, your top 15, however many, go ahead and send it in to us, superherohomies@gmail.com, or any of the social media outlets. I will look at it, and I will give it the old school thumbs up or thumbs down.
If you're watching this on YouTube, drop it in the YouTube comments. Bump that algorithm up, baby.
Yeah. Gotta get it way up there.
Way up there.
With that being said, man, let's go ahead and do this.
Okay, so number 52. I think just for this one alone, I think we should do like a countdown. 3, 2, 1, and then we both just say it. Okay.
That works for me.
Okay. All right. 3, 2, 1.
Thor: Love and Thunder. The Wasp.
I did say you wouldn't fight me on mine.
Yeah.
I did not think that was going to be yours, though. I thought that my 51 or my 52 would be your bottom one, but I did not see that coming.
And the reason why I had Ant-Man and the Wasp as my least, like, just the worst MCU movie is because I really have a hard time thinking of any redeemable qualities about that movie. I mean, even Quantumania, as much as I dislike that one, it had a very good Kang in it, Even though I didn't like what they did with him, he was still very solid.
Yeah.
Thor: Love and Thunder, I mean, I'd struggle to find things I like about that movie, admittedly.
It's just, for me, it's just Natalie Portman and the cool Mjolnir stuff. That's it.
It's, that one's hard, man. So, I will not fight you on Thor: Love and Thunder being the worst. I'll say this. I guess one reason why it didn't hit the absolute worst for me is because I kind of expected it walking into it, whereas some of these other ones that hit the feelings hard for me negatively, I was like, I thought this is going to be a whole lot better than what we got, and that's what I get.
I'll give it to you on this, though, and I didn't really think about this. I had Ant-Man and Wasp a little higher on my list. I don't like it by any means, but, ultimately, I got to say, out of every MCU entry that I've watched, that is by far the most forgettable of all of them. Quantumania on my list is actually lower than it because of how bad they shit on Kang. But if I were to look at them purely as like, these are just two movies, obviously I'd rather sit and watch Quantumania.
Right.
But like, as far as like damage to the MCU, Quantumania is god awful.
Yeah. But I mean, I'll tell you what, you were right. I'm not gonna fight you on putting Thor: Love and Thunder there.
Yeah.
I hate that movie.
yeah. Thor: Love and Thunder to me is like, this is the movie that just like the most actively fucking damages my, like, it just literally takes the entire like superhero homie commandments, puts them in a fucking mortar and pestle, and just grinds that shit up real slow, with eye contact, for 2 hours.
Yeah, for 2 whole hours. It was like Taika Waititi was like, "What's a Thor story that people just absolutely love and won't stop fucking talking about? Gore the God Butcher. Let's just fuck that all the way up. Let's take the super serial, super tragic Jane Foster story, and we'll put that in there too. And we're just gonna mix it all together into one giant, delicious turd sandwich."
Man, that'd be like if they like ruined like the main Iron Man villain. Twice. Actually, like 3 times if you want to get technical.
Return of, what was it called?
They did a Marvel King? One shot, with them too, which I didn't absolutely hate that. We did not include any of those little one shot things in here, but
I kind of wish they would do those again. Those were fun.
They were fun, It's not about having fun anymore. Okay, so I guess for the sake of ironing out number 52, what do you have for your 51?
Yes, my 51 comes as no surprise, Captain Marvel.
Okay, so my 51 is actually Quantumania. So I guess we need to figure this out. I will I will say it is the most forgettable. I am cool with Ant-Man and Wasp at 52. If you're cool with Love and Thunder at 51,
that works for me.
Okay, so Ant-Man 2, and then we have Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah, man, this is like doing therapy where you have to relive all the trauma that you wanted to bury deeply.
It is rough. So now that we got the absolute dog shit out of the way, so
it's not that it's over.
No, it's not. But this is the bottom of the dog shit barrel. At least this shit is a little fresher. There's less things growing on it. There you have it, folks. That's 51 and 52.
Right.
If you love either one of these movies, I do have to question why you listen to superhero podcasts in your spare time.
Right.
But, I guess somebody's got to be watching them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're just taking up space on Disney Plus servers. That being said, man, we're going to let you go next with your 50 through 46.
My 50 through 46. This is going to be interesting here.
I'm starting to feel like our lists are actually wildly different.
Yeah, they might be.
I don't have Captain Marvel in this block.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, I obviously have to move some of these numbers around here because Captain Marvel, like I said, was my 51.
51, right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll just say this. Like, my next 5 would be Captain Marvel, She-Hulk,
okay,
Iron Fist, Eternals, and then it would be Thor: Love and Thunder there, but because that's already on the list, Iron Man 3.
Okay, good. I was like, So, I actually had I have Ant-Man and Wasp at 47.
Okay,
so it wasn't far.
Right.
I have Iron Fist in here. I have She-Hulk in here. I have Iron Man 3 in here. I also have Defenders in this. I got Defenders in this little group.
I got Defenders just a smidge higher on the. It's not.
Well, that's how Captain Marvel is for me. It's like Captain Marvel is like all of these fell off the building, and like Spider-Man hooked like one little web to Captain Marvel, and she just is dangling above the pit of lava, and then all the other movies just fell in.
Oh shit.
So what was your? So Captain Marvel was your next.
Yep.
Lowest, and then you had what now?
Then the She-Hulk, Iron Fist, Eternals, and Iron Man 3.
So I had She-Hulk at 49. So
that feels like that might be number
50. Yeah. Man. So So many things went wrong with this show.
I agree. And here's the thing, right? Like, I don't know, some of you homies may not remember, but I was one of the people who was excited for the She-Hulk show. I think that Jenny deserved the TV show because she's definitely one of the more popular female comic book characters, especially for Marvel. And she, over the years, up until like the Jason Aaron Avengers run, she was very separate from Bruce Banner. Like, you could think about She-Hulk and not think about her cousin. You know what I mean? Because they were just so different, and she was her own established character. The TV show, they just seemed less interested in telling a compelling story about this character in any kind of regard, and just wanted to use her as a vehicle for whatever. And the end result ended up being like a hot mess with some of the worst CGI in the MCU.
I have to ask, like, you know, when the original trailer came out, you were actually hyped for this a little bit at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I was like, the CG looks awful. I can't get over it. And then what we actually got was the improved CG from where everyone originally hated the CG. And like, so like the original trailer was like the original live action Sonic. So like what we actually got, this is like the fixed Sonic. This is the fixed version.
Right.
What made it the worst is like, you know, they already have the model for the regular Hulk. Mm-hmm. It looks fucking great. It's, you know, it's been in the biggest movies of all time.
Yeah.
So when you put her next to that, it was way worse. It was just, you just couldn't take your eyes off of how drastically different it was.
Right.
What's the actress's name here?
Oh man, if you didn't ask me,
you'd have been able to.
Right.
She was good. I never faulted her really, but a lot of the material that she got. I mean, who was this for?
That's the question. That's really the question. Tatiana Maslany.
Yeah. Is this for people who want to see Abomination go to therapy? Is this for people who want superheroes in their weddings?
And also Marvel, you guys got to stop using Daredevil to try to make shit better. All right?
They're just like, fuck. Nobody is gonna fucking watch this. Get Charlie Cox on the phone. I don't mind. I actually really like the way Daredevil's used in this show, though. I know that we had some disagreements on that, but
it wasn't like. It wasn't awful, but it also didn't like drastically do anything from overall improvement of the show.
Oh no. It didn't move anything forward, but it's like it didn't damage him. You know.
I am curious though because it seems like they wanted this type of Daredevil for Born Again, and it seems like they were like, all right, that shit probably won't work.
No,
and so like it's like I guess he's gonna go back to New York and just be like, I don't know, I'm depressed again. I don't know.
He's like, I got some 11 out of 10 trim while I was out there, and now I'm just depressed.
I'm just depressed. Yeah. God damn.
Oh
yeah. So She-Hulk number 50.
Number 50. You had Quantumania on your list in this block, right?
Close.
Oh,
so close.
It was close,
but it's not. Yeah.
How about I know Iron Man 3 and Iron Fist we had in common.
Yep.
But Quantumania escaped it for you.
Just barely, man.
Okay, so I would love to put Iron Man 3 here.
Again, like so many of these, especially like the bottom 8 to 10, so many of these for me can be rearranged, and I will not give much pushback. I mean, because like what is there to argue? Like it's awful.
Yeah.
You know? And if anything, I don't mind having Iron Man 3 be this low, just to spite the people that actually like this movie.
I think I think to me, I didn't really fully realize how bad some of the MCU has gotten until I made this list. Because I'm going to tell you, the bottom 10 were really difficult. And it especially got bad when I realized that I was going to rank things under Iron Man 3.
Right.
Because, I really hate that movie.
Right.
And it's not so much that, once again, we tend to look at these movies from two aspects, like the movie itself and then how it relates to the MCU. Quantumania in a vacuum is probably not a worse movie than She-Hulk is a TV show by any stretch of the imagination.
Right.
But when you look at it through the lens that they have presented it, which is this movie is going to be this important stepping stone for the MCU, we have to remember Ant-Man and the Wasp, or Quantumania, kicked off Phase 5.
Yeah.
And they hyper marketed it as such, of like, this is going to kick off this next phase of the MCU. Have to remember, the end of Phase 5 was supposed to be Kang Dynasty.
Yeah. And that just goes to show you, like, how they have mismanaged this thing to hell.
Yeah, from jump, So, honestly, the Jonathan Majors controversy, at the end of the day, is going to have helped them more than it hurt them, because they had fucked it sideways long before that happened.
If I could put on like my tinfoil hat for a second, I would argue that they used that as an excuse.
Yeah.
The Jonathan Majors thing is an excuse to just scrap the King shit entirely.
Oh, right.
They fucked it. Like, okay, so I can envision a universe where Ant-Man 3 was a fucking 9 out of 10. I know that's laughable. and it was tremendous, and it did everything that it should have done.
Yeah, not if they had gone with the ending I told them they should have done. I mean, I armchair booked that shit.
Right. But let's say they had done that, and it ended up being a tremendous movie and also a tremendous stepping stone for the MCU and setting up Kang Dynasty. Had they done that, I think at the most they recast Jonathan Majors, but I think there's a chance that they let it blow over and they keep him. But because of the extremely poor reception to Kang in Ant-Man 3, and then the poor reception of the movie entirely, this whole Jonathan Majors controversy was a great reason for them to be like, okay, let's wash our hands clean of this and start over fresh. And let's get people to look and gawk at who we get to play Doom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm excited about what they're going to do now.
Yeah.
But it is a pivot. Fortunately for them, it doesn't feel like that much of a pivot because they did hardly anything to set up Kang. I mean, me and you most recently watched the only real setup they did for Kang, which was Loki.
Yeah.
That was all the setup. I mean, yeah, obviously they had the post-credit scene from Quantumania. If you managed to stay in the theater for that long.
And that was a trailer for Loki season 2.
Right, and it just they also did the
council
of all the council,
Yeah, they did.
And it's just you look at it and you're like, where was the setup for this? Because a lot of us thought that Kang in Ant-Man was going to be the Kang, like
he was presented as such,
and then. Nothing Burger Kang.
Right, yeah, Nothing Burger Kang.
He's from the same universe as the Multiverse of Madness Reed Richards.
Yeah.
Where everyone's just a very mid version of themselves.
Right. That makes sense if you go by the theory that Kang is a descendant of Reed Richards.
Yeah.
Like, it runs in the family.
Yeah, that's true. Isn't he supposed to be like in the Ultimate canon?
I'm not sure about the Ultimate canon. It's heavily speculated in the 616.
Oh, okay.
That he's either a descendant of Reed or Doom, and they're like, well, could be
maybe
both.
It's both.
Maybe it's both. Both of them.
Someone took DNA from both of them. Or they just, Reed Richards figured out how to have a butt sex baby. I mean, I wouldn't put it past him.
Out of all the shit, he'll do anything except talk to Sue.
right. But are we cool with Iron Man 3 for 40?
Yeah,
I want it here because fuck them. Iron Man 3.
This was the first
mega disappointment. I
mean, it was a big disappointment, and it was coming off the high that was Avengers.
It's Quantumania. Like, I mean, the Quantumania wasn't coming off of a high, but just imagine if you will, that the first movie after Endgame had been Quantumania. That's what Ant-Man 3 was.
Yeah.
Where, it was like Avengers happened. We came into this thing like, this is the first time we've seen a team up of this variety.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as you know, anybody who's been paying attention to comics, or even if you just watch the animated TV shows, know the two mega superpowers. You have DC has the Justice League, and Marvel has the Avengers. There's a bunch of other teams, but those are that's the seven. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, those are the god tier.
Yeah.
And for comic book nerds in general, for them to spend the budget to spin up these different franchises and then have them all convene together in a movie and have it all actually make sense and give each one of these characters like their own arc and their own like time to breathe, and just they did a really good job with the first Avengers movie. And they also gave us that fucking Thanos sting at the end,
right,
to the point we were all like, the hype was at a level that it has never been at.
Oh yeah.
And we all wanted any little crumble of what was coming next.
Right.
And then they gave us this thing. And not only is it terrible, even the post-credit scene is maddening. Because
right,
you just find out that he's been laying on the couch telling Bruce Banner this the whole time. And I'm like...
And just like the audience, Bruce couldn't sit through that shit.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Also, if you and Bruce Banner are just a phone call away, why didn't you pick up the phone when they dumped your house in the ocean?
Right. Right.
Or anytime before then.
Guys, remember superhero homies rule number 10: love what you love.
Yeah.
But I do always wonder, because there are people out there who really enjoy Iron Man 3. Like, what is the defense for the quote-unquote twist with Trevor, what's his face, not being Mandarin?
Oh, man.
I can't even play devil's advocate with that, because there is no way in which that really makes any sense. There's no way where that's like a really cool and clever twist. Even if you're not familiar with the Mandarin, if you're not familiar with Aldrich Killian, even if you're not familiar with either of those characters or stories that they're associated with, it's still not a compelling story.
A lot of it is because the twist has nothing to do with the real story. The twist was on us. Like, it was all meta. They advertised it to us as that this was going to be the Mandarin.
Yep.
And the crazy thing is, the dude did such a good job.
Ben Kingsley would have been the best Mandarin that we've gotten.
He fucking killed it. Those scenes where he's like acting as the Mandarin or whatever. Go back on YouTube and watch the first couple of trailers for Iron Man 3, and you're just like instantly enraged that we didn't get this movie, because this movie would have been insane. If we had actually gotten this sort of like thriller type scenario where, Iron Man is like always trying to like, he's just one step behind him, you know, the Dark Knight of Iron Man basically would have been what would happen here. Tremendous. Not only were we completely robbed of that, but they also took this massive hype that they had around what was going to come next and that just dropped it off a cliff.
Yeah.
Thankfully, they had Winter Soldier in their pocket.
Oh, they had Winter Soldier and Guardians that really came through for Phase 2.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, if the Dark World had been right here, nobody would have been mad, because it's a cool Thor adventure. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's in on my list for today. I don't know.
For today?
Yeah. I don't know that Dark World's on there. If it is, it's gonna be way later.
You're not wrong. It'd be cutting it close.
Yeah, I don't mind the Dark World. Never did. So Yeah, so Iron Man 3, number 49. I think Iron Fist is the only other one that we both had in this box.
Yep, that's the only other one we had in common.
So we want to put that in at 48?
I mean, where is it going to go? I mean, listen, like, Iron Fist was just... So we all knew it was bad, but it was bad in ways that it didn't need to be bad. So the actor who played Iron Fist, Finn something, rather.
Yeah.
He did get shafted. When he was cast, they were like... Finn Jones, that's what it is. Yeah. When Finn Jones got cast as Iron Fist, they were like, congratulations, we got like 6 weeks till filming. And he was like, I don't know how to fight. And they're like, we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out, yeah. You have a glowy fist.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really did get shafted on this. And this was you have to also understand that there was an era of about a decade there where you would die on Game of Thrones and then you would get cast as like the lead in something else. Mm-hmm. Or you may still be on Game of Thrones, but things a lot of people don't remember, like Jason Momoa that wasn't his first thing he was in, but Game of Thrones is what catapulted him into the mainstream.
Right.
That Emilia Clarke obviously hasn't had a lot of success since. She's going to come up here later. Mm-hmm. But like all of these people's like stardom, Kit Harington, I mean, all of it came out of that show. I mean, that show made so many people. Pedro Pascal. Yeah. He's like the fucking guy now, so many people came out of Game of Thrones, and like this was kind of that same era with what happened with Finn Jones. And I don't really fault him with it. Also, Finn Jones is the most white bread ass name I think I might have ever heard.
I think another issue is, I mean, just all around, he was miscast. And now, he could have done better had he had proper preparation, for the role, which he didn't.
Right.
But even still, I think that he was miscast. Like, he didn't have he is altruistic in the show, like Danny Rand is, but he doesn't have that kind of cool confidence that Danny is supposed to have. He that certain kind of charisma. It could be on the writing, but I think it's also in just him not really having that kind of aura to be Iron Fist.
Yeah, it's almost down to the fact, like, one of the worst things about this was he never comes off as this like zen person at all. He's like erratic. He has like a very short temper,
He's very childish. I've always used the phrase he was stuck in a state of arrested development because like he just never grew up.
Right.
And I'm not sure why they went with that approach, And I get it, Danny doesn't like the corporate side of things. He doesn't like, running a business or anything like that, but this was just bizarre writing all the way around. I never really understood why they made a lot of the decisions they made.
Well, they could have had him. See, the thing is, they needed him to be naive.
Yeah.
But not, like, brash. Mm-hmm. Where, it's the same problem that we have in Shazam, right?
Yeah.
Where, for whatever reason, the kid Shazam seems way more grown the fuck up than the adult Shazam.
Yeah.
And it's like they don't even feel like the same person. Iron Fist needed to be a lot more like the kid we got in Shazam 2. Instead, he needed to be this, okay, like zen, peaceful, got his shit under control, but he just doesn't understand how this world he's been thrust into works.
Right.
Like, he was supposed to be, I'm going to keep making Game of Thrones references here today, but he was supposed to be Ned Stark coming to King's Landing. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
It's like, honor and all this other stuff where you come in and you're like expecting everybody to act accordingly.
Right.
But these are all a bunch of fucking corporate snakes,
Exactly.
And he just doesn't understand how that works. That's the angle they had to go for, but instead they made him like impulsive and it just didn't work out.
It didn't, and he never really seemed to learn or grow. And it wasn't just all on him either, as a character or an actor. Just the pacing for it was off. But Netflix has always kind of had an issue with proper pacing with some of those shows.
Yeah.
And the plot is unremarkable at best, for both seasons.
Yeah. David Wenham, who played Harold.
Okay,
in this, was tremendous.
Yeah.
I think he's probably the best villain the show had. Yeah. Obviously, the only standout in this is Jessica Henwick, right?
Yeah.
As Colleen, she was tremendous.
And it was almost to Finn's detriment because she knows what she's doing,
Yeah.
But no, agreed. Iron Fist is about as good a 48 as one could hope for.
So now we get to hash out 47 and 46 because so we already used up Love and Thunder and Ant-Man 2. You had Eternals, and you still have Captain Marvel in the wings. I know you're dying to put Captain Marvel down.
I'm dying to put both of them down.
47, 46 then? Eternals is the one you're referencing?
Yeah, Eternals actually ranked higher for me than Captain Marvel.
It did for me too, but just they were all higher. So I had all right, so Iron Fist is 48, and you want to do Captain Marvel 47?
Yes. And you know what? I thought I was being extremely mature when I didn't put her at 52. That is growth for me.
It is growth for you. Kind of. I didn't put Iron Man 3 at 52, right. But I didn't feel good about it. I was like, I guess I'm happy it's not the word. No, I'm not.
No,
happy
that's
it's
not
the worst movie.
That's not the word.
That's not the word. I'll be honest with you. When it got down to this far, like just this level of terrible, I just kept thinking to myself, every time I tried to put Love and Thunder above something, I was like, I can't do that to She-Hulk. I can't do that to Iron Fist.
Not going back to Love and Thunder, but going back to like Love and Thunder, it really did have like the makings of all the things that's terrible about a superhero movie. It had bad CG.
Yeah.
It had a villain that should have been phenomenal, but was utterly unremarkable. It had nothing about that movie was a standout in a positive way.
Yeah, it's the worst movie for a comic book fan, or even for a fan of these characters in any medium to just to just shit all over all the different things that we really like. So
this may be a hot take. I don't think so. I think that time will prove me right. People will look back at Thor: Love and Thunder the same way that people today look at Batman and Robin.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. So a friend of mine, we were gonna watch the Guardians holiday special, and it actually turned out that they had not seen Love and Thunder, and I was like, "You don't need to do that. It's fine.
Yeah,
like, it's fine."
Yeah, no.
And they were like, "No. I want to see it in order." They were like, "Put on Thor," and I was like, "Okay." So I put it on, and they made it to the part where he hopped on Stormbreaker like a witch's broom and flew off on it, and they were like, "Cut this fucking shit off right now." And I was like, "With pleasure."
Yeah.
And then we watched the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special.
Yeah.
Which was,
it's excellent.
It's not going to be in this episode at all. Excellent.
What would you do if I had that, like, number 46, Guardians Christmas special? This piece of shit.
I'd probably just walk out that door every day. Yeah. I'd be like, well, this was fun. So Captain Marvel is officially number 47. I'll be honest, I don't think we need to talk at length about this one. I think we've done that.
Yeah. What have we not said about Captain Marvel?
Go pull up our review of Captain Marvel. I'm not on that one. Thankfully. for my own credit because I feel like I would have tried to defend it, and I'd feel bad about it now. So, and then Eternals is the other one that you have.
Yeah, I had Eternals clocking in next there.
I have that at 44, but I'll be honest, man, I'm not going to fight you on that. It's bad. It's god awful.
The reason why Eternals is as high as it is, because I've said some very bad things about it, but the reason why it's not even lower for me is because Chloe Zhao, I do think that she's a good filmmaker. I don't think that this is her genre, though.
No.
And, I just think that she would have been way more suited for something. Matter of fact, if you want to keep her in this type of genre, she should have been the one to make Black Widow.
Right, yeah. It'd be like Eli Roth making a Borderlands movie.
Now, that's just utterly ridiculous. I don't even know how you would put that together.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Exactly, Nobody would,
No one with common sense would give that man that kind of money to make a Borderlands movie.
Correct.
That's just... It probably has something like a 0 on Rotten Tomato.
I think it's up to a 4.
Oh,
now. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's exponential growth.
So apparently it was drastically underestimated.
Oh, yeah.
So, and apparently they interviewed the president of Take-Two Interactive about it, and he was like, I think everyone should just give it a chance.
I'm sure he would like that.
Yeah, I bet you would.
Yeah.
So Eternals 46 then.
Yes. Yeah.
There were things that were likable in this. I think this is where we're getting to the there were things that were likable in it, just not as a whole,
Yeah.
For instance, I mean, even in Captain Marvel, Fury and Coulson were awesome. I mean,
yeah,
I loved Coulson in that. I really did.
I like Coulson in pretty much everything.
Yeah, exact same, yeah.
Yeah.
Clark Gregg was incredible. If they're going to bring somebody back, that's who they should have had be Doctor Doom. That would have been fucking amazing. Just a fucking insanely evil Clark Gregg.
He still got the Captain America trading cards or whatever. In terms of Sam Jackson and Captain Marvel, he definitely seems like a younger version of himself is what they were going for. But I don't know, what it felt like was just a more... it felt like a version of Nick Fury. There's our Madam Web reference.
Here's our Madam Web product placement. Here we go.
That's right.
Busting out the Pepsi.
Yeah, busting out the Pepsi.
Here we go. We're going to do some ASMR here. All right.
Yeah, I wish I could remember a quote from Madam Web. I would just say it every time you open up a Pepsi.
Anybody want to guess what the baby's name is?
Fucking hell. Anyway, but...
There's some good visuals in Eternals.
There are good visuals in Eternals.
Honestly,
I agree.
A lot of people online around the time of this happening were like, there are aspects of this where they kind of did some of DC style action better than DC did it in their movies, and they're not wrong. I mean,
I disagree on that, but
not all, but I'm saying some. Mm-hmm. I mean,
in terms of things I like about Eternals, it's few and far between. I like
Brian Tyree Henry.
Yeah, I like him in pretty much everything too.
Right. Yeah.
I like the fact that Kumail Nanjiani said, "I'm a peace out," and he really peaced out.
Yeah.
He never came back. This is one of those things that really first made me raise a brow and a super negative viewpoint of Kevin Feige, because he said in an interview, "I wanted to make more movies like Eternals because the fan base aren't familiar with these characters, so we can make more changes." And I'm like, you motherfuckers don't know this stuff good enough to make those kind of changes that you want. And this movie just proved me right.
Yeah.
And the changes they made were integral to what the movie should have been. They became fucking robotic sex dolls versus these, eternal beings who had been adapted into lore and legend over time. Jack Kirby was huge on lore, and he's huge on mythology. That's why he did so good on Thor, and that's why he did so good on DC's new world, or fourth world with Darkseid and Apocalypse and New Genesis. But you look at Eternals, man, and they just stripped it of all of that, and putting it where they placed it in the MCU made it have a steeper hill to climb from, because where the fuck were you guys when all this other shit went down?
and they were like, yeah, we couldn't get involved or whatever. I'm like, I'm pretty sure when Thanos shows up, who is a fucking deviant,
right,
and snaps half the universe out of existence.
Yeah.
That might have been the time for you guys to be like, maybe we should do something here.
Right.
You guys literally are there to protect, according to you, you're there to protect Earth from him.
Yes. Yes. That is your objective.
You fucked up.
Yeah. Big time. Hugely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Eternals 46.
Yeah.
I'm happy with the list so far.
Me too.
I think we're good.
Yeah. We need to climb out of this pit of despair, because
I'm gonna throw some little frayed ropes in, and you can roll a strength check to try to get yourself out. You don't get advantage.
Oh shit.
So my next 5 coming up from the bottom. I originally had this at 51. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Okay.
Defenders, Echo, Black Widow, and Secret Invasion. Judging by the look on your face,
I think we're closer than you think.
Okay.
So you had
Ragnarok is in here for you, isn't it?
It actually is not.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Where the fuck did I put it? It's in here somewhere, trust me. Anyways, you said Quantumania.
So Quantumania.
Yep, I had
Defenders.
I didn't have Defenders.
You what? You got Defenders is not in this box for you? What is it? 12?
Oh fuck. God.
I think when we get done with this, I think you need to go and rewatch Defenders. How long has it been since you watched that show?
You gotta remember, me and Kevin, we went to Chicago WizardCon the year that Defenders came out, and Charlie Cox and the crew were there, and they did a panel on Defenders, before it came out.
Okay,
you know what I mean. So, but no, trust me, it almost made this bracket. Okay. As a matter of fact, it doesn't slide in, but it's literally right there. So Quantumania, you said
Defenders, Echo, Black Widow, Secret Invasion.
We have Quantumania, Echo, and Black Widow in common.
Okay,
actually,
Secret Invasion was my 42. After I watched it, I flipped it up to 41 because it was below Black Widow, and then I decided after I watched it, it could go above Black Widow.
I actually have Secret Invasion rated a little bit higher than you.
That's actually really nuts.
Right.
Well, Captain Marvel was 45 for me.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, so let's see.
So let's look at the ones we have in common. So Quantumania.
Yep.
Defenders, no? You don't have Defenders here?
No.
Echo, you do?
Yep.
And Black Widow, you do?
Yep.
Okay, so... fuck it, Quantumania at 45.
Yeah.
I had it at 51.
Right. In the words of Bane, there's no need to stand on ceremony.
Right, yeah. Yeah. We've already talked about why this movie is absolutely garbage.
And I'll be honest, the way the list looks now, I've seen various people, various groups actually, say that any one of these is their least favorite.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, what we have right here, coming from 52 up, we have number 52. We have Ant-Man and the Wasp. We have Thor: Love and Thunder, She-Hulk, Iron Man 3, Iron Fist, Captain Marvel, Eternals, and Ant-Man: Quantumania. This is a who's who of what's your least favorite MCU thing. Yeah. If you ask anybody, what's the shittiest Netflix Marvel show? It's Iron Fist. What's the worst Disney Plus show? It's She-Hulk. This is a who's who of what's the thing you hate the most about the MCU.
Right.
So We're doing a damn good job.
I think so. I think we are. Unlike these movies, we're doing a good job.
Honestly, this is probably these are just irredeemably bad.
Yeah.
List, you know, like
yeah. We're starting to get to a spot where what this thing did, you know,
like I could sit and have a conversation on the merits of Black Widow as a movie. Mm-hmm. I would be like, "Are you serious?" But I could at least see where there are elements of this. There was a good movie here at some point.
Yeah.
If you take 75 of the 200 references to family out of the movie, that actually probably bump it up at least a whole number score for me. I will say, though, in its defense, had this movie come out like 5 years earlier or later, it wouldn't have been so comically memed. But the fact that it came out right after Fast and the Furious and all the Dom memes were like so hot on the net at that time, every time they did it in the movie, you know, I didn't know that my eyes were ever going to come back to forward because, like, they would roll so far in the back of my head.
Yeah, this movie was such a. Speaking of Black Widow, I don't know where you want to put that.
Yeah, it seems like
you know, I'm not going to nudge us. You know?
It seems like it might be going here at 44, my guy.
But, you know, when I look at Black Widow, I have similar feelings to that I do about X-Men Origins. Or like, man, if I could just isolate these first 10 to 15 minutes, I got a cool premise going on here.
Yeah, I agree.
But then it quickly goes off the rails. And also, the Black Widow movie does nothing to celebrate the life of Natasha.
Honestly, the thing about this is, for all of the supposed claims that Disney is woke or whatever, and I don't want to get into that because this is not that episode.
Right.
I don't even want to do that episode. You know, DC absolutely beat them to it. You know, like they were 30-something films in before they gave Natasha, who is an original Avenger,
OG,
an original 6. You built the franchise around these 6 people. This is one of the pillars, okay? And unlike Hawkeye, she didn't even get shit on in the first movie. You know?
Right, yeah.
She was... that shot of her evading the Hulk is iconic as fuck.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of the coolest shots in the whole thing.
Yeah.
From Avengers 1. And for the fact that it took them this long to give her own movie, you know, if this had actually been placed after Civil War with like Ross coming after them and came out before Infinity War, it would have been such a much, like, that would have given the movie a huge boost right there.
I agree.
But instead, we're now trying to go, we're already out of the Infinity Saga.
Yep.
We're done with it. We've put a rubber stamp on it. The book's shut. We know how everything's going to turn out. And then we're like, this is an extended fucking Family Guy joke. Somebody walked into the room and was like, hey, you remember that time we hung out with Black Widow? And then they just flashed back for 90 minutes.
Yes.
You know? And it's so inconsequential, so low stakes, you know.
It is. And it has one of the most unintentionally hilarious lines of dialogue that I've ever heard in a movie. It's when the main villain, I don't remember his name.
I can't remember his name either. Some Russian dude, he's expositing about his big evil plan. And he says something along the lines of, and I have control of the world's biggest commodity, girls. And I was like, did anyone read the draft on this script? The thing is, I'm sure that they were trying to make this an allegory for human trafficking.
Yeah.
That would have been an amazing play. Like, and obviously you have to be careful with that. Like, you don't want to go too far into that.
Right.
The reality of
because
that.
those motherfuckers are in Hollywood, so you can't go too far.
Right.
Into that.
Yeah. And the reality of it is brutally terrifying.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So like, you know, you look at it, but it fell flat. Like it just all. Their mom was super awful. Like probably the low point of the whole thing.
Well, you know, another reason why I compare this to X-Men Origins is because of what they did to Taskmaster. It is very similar
to what they did to Deadpool.
Yes.
Oh man, hey, maybe in Thunderbolts we can get a similar redemption.
Right. We can only hope so.
If we don't, then I need them to put Taskmaster in Secret Wars so that Deadpool can talk shit about it.
Yeah.
I just need Wade to drop a line like, yeah, I guess not everybody gets it right on the second shot either, huh? Third time's a charm.
That would be fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I at least need them to elongate it long enough for me to get the joke.
Right,
you know?
right.
But at least get a little bit of squeeze out of that.
Get some squeeze out of that juice.
Yeah, man. It sounds like we're putting Black Widow at 40.
Yeah, that sounds appropriate.
And Yelena was amazing.
She was the high point of that movie for me.
She was the high point of it. Red Guardian, I did not hate Red Guardian. There were honestly some moments in it that I really liked. The running gag about where he like fought Steve Rogers or what the fuck ever. And the thing is, we don't know if he did or didn't. Yeah. We're gonna assume he didn't because he's alive. But the whole thing, like it's almost like a comic relief version of the, you know how I got these scars, you know, Joker story, where it's like, we don't know if he fought Steve Rogers or not. Yeah. It seems like it's just some shit he used to tell them, but like it's bullshit, so he gets his own story wrong, you know. And I liked it, you know.
Yeah, and he could get away with it if Steve never came back, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah. And then, you know, when he showed back up, he was like, oh shit.
Yeah. Red Guardian, I wouldn't mind him so much if he served a purpose, like if he had a function. Yeah. You know, I mean,
he got treated better than he did in the Winter Soldier comic. Where they just shot him in the head.
They gave him a quick, timely death. He didn't have to suffer through 2 hours.
Yeah, hopefully he'll be a little better in Thunderbolts as well.
Yeah, I hope so.
I like David Harbour a lot.
Me too.
You know,
my problem with the Thunderbolts though is that team is, I think it's 6 people on the team and 5 of them do the same thing.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, I agree. And they're supposed to go stop Sentry.
Fight the Sentry. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with that.
Yeah, that's like, I mean, that's like sending, I was going to say it's like sending like the Bat family to go fight Superman, but you can just send Batman. And
yeah, that'd be fine. It'd be like sending everyone and but him.
Yeah.
And they don't have any kryptonite.
Right.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm really hoping that there's something else to that movie that we aren't realizing yet.
Gotta be.
Introducing Sentry to me is risky as hell.
Yeah, because what do you do with him?
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
are you going to have him fight Carol Danvers in space for like 2 hours?
Right.
I'd actually be down to see that. It's like, if like she doesn't talk, you know?
Oh, yeah, because of space, yeah. I mean, by the sounds of it, she might not be coming back, which I don't know if the gods are that good to me.
No, you mean Brie Larson's not going to come back?
Yeah, man, yeah. Oh. I know you're upset about this.
Well, I can't do this anymore. So, Black Widow is number 44.
Number 44.
44. Okay, so I had Defenders, Echo, and Secret Invasion left. What were your next 3?
All right. My next 3 that we don't have on the list.
Yeah. Yeah, because there was a wide gamut here. Like, I had Defenders at 48. So.
Oh yeah. So mine is Echo, Defenders, the Marvels.
I knew. I knew that this was going to be...
You knew. You had to have seen this.
Oh, I did. I actually am really... I'll be honest with you. I'm really happy that it didn't happen before now. I was very worried that it was going to be in year 46 to 50. And I was like, I don't know how we're gonna reconcile this. So I was very happy to see that you put it above the, shit sandwiches of the world. So let's put a pin in that.
Okay.
Let's get 42 and 43. So we Defenders and Echo.
Yep.
You had them just in the opposite direction, right? Like you had.
Yeah.
Okay, so I need you to justify that one for me. Tell me why Echo is worse than Defenders. I really do want to know when's the last time you watched Defenders, though.
Oh, it's been a solid 5 years.
Okay.
Defenders.
Okay. A little revisit, you know?
And it's possible.
Free time.
Yeah. I mean, listen.
We'll do a 10-year anniversary review of it whenever that...
So I thought that the... I'm an action kind of guy, and I thought that the fight scenes were... And Defenders were definitely... They weren't the best that we've seen from that series, but they were really good. The Luke Cage Iron Fist team up was some of the coolest shit that I never thought I'd see.
The moment that they first meet, when is like amazing, right? Is where Iron Fist punches him.
Oh yeah,
the look on Luke Cage's face, because he's just like he's not even braced. You know what I mean? He's like, this little fucking white boy about to hit me. And this is going to be hilarious.
Right.
And then he just goes flying.
Right.
The look on his face was amazing. I mean, that moment, Mike Coulter made his paycheck that day.
Right.
You know? Tremendous. So, like, it's got some moments like that I really loved.
I like the dynamic of the Defenders themselves. Yeah. You know, like when they're not out trying to fight, Elodie Young or Sigourney Weaver. But I like the dynamic of that team. Jessica Jones being like, "What the fuck am I doing here?" Like, what mystical ninja bullshit? What? Yeah. I thought she was great. I like Charlie Cox or Matt Murdock going off on Iron Fist. Like there were moments like that I really enjoyed. This is also when Stick dies.
Yeah.
And seeing him before he dies and he gets his hand cut off and he's got that super fake nub, I thought that was great.
Yeah. What was the villain who was in? She was in the Daredevil and Iron Fist shows. The older Asian lady.
Oh yeah, I forget her name, but
she was great.
Mm-hmm.
I actually thought that she probably should have just been the main villain.
Yeah.
Because like Sigourney Weaver's character, they just kind of brought her out of nowhere in this show, and then her character was abysmal. I mean,
oh yeah,
absolutely just ruined.
Yeah, it was like they were so excited to have Sigourney Weaver they forgot to write anything for the character.
Because the idea of her as like this sort of like arch villain type character is incredible.
Yeah.
And she normally plays protagonists.
Right. So I really dug seeing her in that kind of role. I just wish it was something good. But other than that, like it's got some of the same issues. The pacing issues are actually a little bit less because Defenders is a shorter show. Yeah. And thankfully they knew to do that much. But yeah, as a whole, man, don't think that I think that this show is good, because I don't. But yeah, like when I had to come down and like compare it to like its contemporaries on my list, I'm like, man, I don't like this, but what does Echo do a whole lot better or any better than Defenders? And I couldn't come up with anything. So
Wilson Fisk is it. That's it.
Yeah.
And he's only in it for...
It would have been hilarious because Wilson Fisk could have been in the Defenders.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You did it for me, man. I agree with you. So we're going to go Echo 43. The not Matt Murdock and not Wilson Fisk show. And then we're going to go Defenders 42.
Yep.
And now we're going to fight. Okay, so you had 41. You have the Marvels in this slot?
Yeah.
Okay. Secret Invasion.
Okay.
I'm gonna be adamant that Secret Invasion go here because the Marvels. Mm-hmm. Not only does it have a very cool fight scene, right?
It does.
While Secret Invasion does have that, it's about 25 seconds long.
The budget had to go somewhere.
And the whole budget was right there. And as you have said, the CG looked terrible. Iman Vellani alone is a standout for the Marvels. Even if the villain's plot made no fucking sense whatsoever. Also, arguably here, we do get the best Brie Larson material that we've gotten.
Oh, I'm going to need you to pick that bar up off the floor.
Not that is a high bar. I'm just saying, in this movie, she doesn't actively make me want to claw my face off at all times. Like, she was actually okay.
Yeah.
She came across as, like, the kind of knowledgeable veteran of the team that Carol ought to be, but without being, like, unreasonably and undefinably bitchy. Like,
right.
Which she's never pulled off before.
So, I'll go ahead and I'll tell you this. Like, my Secret Invasion on my list was number 38. So, it's not too far from where we are now.
Yeah, Secret Invasion was 5 episodes of mid and then a kind of cool fight scene.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you got me on that.
I do like. I will have to say here, since I think we're putting Secret Invasion here.
Yeah.
I did love the fake out on Gravik at the end.
The fake out was a nice touch, yeah, but it was also something that Gravik should have seen coming.
I think the only reason that he didn't is probably because of the radiation.
Yeah.
And like kind of how high he was riding on that moment. But at the same time, like if you sit and think about it, you're like, Nick fucking Fury wouldn't just walk in here knowing that he was going to get radiation poisoning.
Right.
Like, why the fuck would he agree to come here?
Yeah, well, why would he agree to come here for the meeting? Yeah.
Yeah, the real Nick Fury wouldn't have fucking done that.
Right.
The real Nick Fury would have probably sent the fucking Hulk.
Yeah.
He'd be like, yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah. Guys, like, the fuck is that noise?
Yeah. It sounds like all my minions being brutally slaughtered. Well, I'm sure it's not that.
Also, yeah, so we can go ahead and put Secret Invasion there.
Okay.
I do wonder, though, about Secret Invasion. When are they going to catch Rhodey up on all the shit he's missed?
Like, his best friend saving the world and dying?
I guess that's kind of a big deal, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the reveal that he's been a Skrull since Civil War is incredible.
Yeah.
And, like, it does kind of recontextualize, because I was sitting there thinking about it, and I was like, does he do anything in Infinity War and Endgame that kind of lends itself to that? And it's like, he does hang up on Ross.
Yeah.
Which, okay, I could see Rhodey doing that. The whole line that he drops about fucking getting baby Thanos with the piano wire is way funnier now.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that was the one thing that I took from this show. I was like, that makes that scene completely different in a good kind of way.
It does. It really does. But in the show itself, though, like, you call it in 10 seconds. I mean, I did it. Like,
the first meeting.
He just talks in a way that's not Rhodey,
Right.
He uses words that Rhodey doesn't use. And, I mean, that should have been super evident to... I mean, it obviously they didn't fool Nick Fury very long at all. I mean, Nick Fury probably knew he was a Skrull the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
Maybe not in Infinity War and Endgame, but certainly during the events of the show.
And also, Nick Fury gave him some... I never forget this part. He gave him some Pappy Van Winkle, which is like some super rare, high quality, was it Scotch?
Yeah. I wanted that scene, because in that scene, they actually did pretty good with the tension there. And Rhodey's like, it's not poisoned, is it? And he's just like,
yeah.
You want me to pour myself some more or whatever? And like, Rhodey avoids drinking from the glass for a long time. Like, you're watching him, he's just like swishing it around. He goes up, he plays the video of, Nick Fury, quote unquote, killing Maria Hill.
Yeah.
goes the six back down and everything, and like after all that, he finally does drink some, and like I wanted it to be poison.
Right.
I would have lost my mind.
Yeah, that would have made that scene extremely good.
Yeah, like if there actually had been poison in there.
Right.
Okay, that's our 41. I'm unfortunately handing it back over to you now for 40 through 36.
Okay.
I got to get my other paper out.
Yeah. All right. So my 40 through 46. I've already mentioned the Marvels. Let's see. We've already done Defenders and Secret Invasion, so those out of here. So it would be Loki, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Let me see. Yep. The Marvels, Guardians Volume 2, Loki. Moon Knight and Miss Marvel.
Okay, so you had, let me just run it back. You had The Marvels.
Yep.
Loki.
Yep.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Moon Knight, and Miss Marvel.
Correct.
So I'll be honest here. I was kind of worried about this block specifically. I also have Guardians in this block.
2, of course.
Yes. Yeah, Guardians 2. I also have Moon Knight in this block. I also have the Marvels in this block. I had it at 36.
Okay.
But, so... Interesting. I also have... I have Ragnarok at 40. That's so crazy.
It is.
I never would have thought that I would have ranked Secret Invasion lower than you. And I definitely didn't think I would rank Ragnarok lower than you. I technically ranked both of the Watiti movies lower than you did.
You did. Yeah. Yeah, you really did.
Okay. All right.
So the ones that we have in common.
We have Moon Knight in common. We have
Guardians
2 in common. And we have the Marvels in common.
Okay.
I as much as I I don't have Loki in this block at all. Or the next one.
Oh shit.
Wow. I anticipated that one though. Yeah, I anticipated that one a good bit. I Miss Marvel was not too much further up for me though, if that makes you feel any better. We are gonna fight over some of these though for sure.
Oh yeah,
because you and Kevin thought Werewolf by Night was like the business, right?
Yeah, really enjoy Werewolf by Night.
So like it's like the second episode for you, probably.
Barely.
Okay, it's not second episode. Okay, that's gonna be the real kicker is like the stuff that's in that we have in this episode.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I'm sitting there looking at it. And I'm like, we got Guardians 2, but I really don't want to put it here. I will acquiesce this. Okay. I will concede on the Marvels as number 40 because I understand why we've talked about it at length, and I do understand why you don't like it. If anybody wants to just ruin your day, go listen to our review of the Marvels, which is just a solo of you.
It was perfect because it matched how I felt in that viewing experience. So if you don't just want to ruin your day, you can listen to me ruin my own day.
I really wish I had been there for that. I think I was out of town or something.
Yeah.
I was at the beach.
That's right.
And I really wish I had been there for that because it was it would have been a nice contrast because I don't hate that movie. I don't love it either. I wouldn't even say I like it. I thought it was just okay with some bright points. And there are moments in that movie that I thought were tremendous that you hated, like the Disney princess scene.
Hated it.
You really hated that. I thought it was tremendous. So
I was Tiana Paris was very much an avatar for me through most of that movie.
And it's sad because she was so good in WandaVision.
Yeah.
And then in that movie, it's not that she's bad. It's just they didn't give her anything to do.
Yeah, she didn't have anything to do. Yeah.
She just is there to exposit when necessary.
It's almost like she feels like the third wheel in that movie, and she shouldn't.
Yeah. And I really do love a lot of what they did with the action in that movie, though. Really good.
Yeah. I think it's that first action scene where they're all switching places.
Yeah.
The thing about that fight scene is, I knew in the theater, and if for whatever reason, if I ever see it again for some reason, I have to turn my brain off when I watch that fight scene, because if I turn on my analytical fight choreography brain, I'm sure I'd be like, that's not supposed to happen according to these rule sets. Why are you here? It's supposed to be the other one. But it's so, the way that it's shot and the way that it's paced makes it so none of that really matters.
Yeah, the soundtrack was really good for that movie too, surprisingly.
Yeah.
So,
and also the length.
Yes,
they did not make me wait.
Yeah,
very long.
I'll be honest. Like, if that movie actually had a good villain, it would not. If that movie had like a really good villain, it wouldn't even be on this episode probably.
I mean, for me, we needed a good villain and a good plot.
Well, that kind of go hand in hand in this movie because the plot is based around the stupid as hell concept of the...
Yeah.
Like, because according to this movie, if a planet is dry, you can just open a portal and dump a bunch of water on it.
Yeah.
And it's all fine after that.
Oh, yeah. And Captain Marvel can just restart a fucking dying sun. And she never did so for the fucking home planet.
Yeah, that's more believable to me that she's able to do that than this planet doesn't have an atmosphere. Well, we're just gonna fucking Roomba up another planet's atmosphere.
Yeah, it's like
if that worked, then we would have just dumped some atmosphere on Mars forever ago.
Oh yeah,
and be like, oh well, it's fine.
I'm like, you're not even gonna give me kind of bullshit terraforming thing. Like, you're just gonna take this planet's atmosphere.
Yeah, you're not going to give me a cool-ass General Zod planet drill.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. And I'm like, wouldn't it just be easier to, I don't know, move to a different fucking planet? I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too much about it.
Yeah, don't think about it more.
Okay.
You have Loki on here.
Yep.
Do we want to put Guardians 2 at 39? Are you okay with that?
I think I'm okay with that, and the reason why I hesitate just like you did, because for me, Guardians Volume 2, and I mean this with no disrespect, it is the epitome of mid. You know, where it's like, I feel that like everything above it kind of has to have like the scales has almost had to tilt a little bit more towards, I kind of like this thing now more so than, I don't know.
Well, with Guardians 2, it is harmed by the quality of its peers, right? Mm-hmm. If you look at the movies that have the Guardians in them, okay?
Yep.
We have Guardians 1.
Yep.
We have Guardians 2, and obviously we have Infinity War, Endgame, Guardians 3, and the Holiday Special.
Yeah.
If you look at those 6 items, okay, Guardians 2 is not even in the same library, much less in the same book or on the same page.
Yeah.
It is very much a just kind of weird, and I mean in the bad way, because all Guardians shit is weird. But it's like, you take all of the things from Guardians 1 that we didn't want you to hone in on, Chris Pratt being fucking annoying. Okay, I typically find Chris Pratt annoying in general, but in Guardians 1, it fits and works, right? He'll say some dumb shit, and you're just like, right. And everybody reacts to it based on that. In this movie, it's the A plot, god damn, is so Peter focused
Yeah.
And you put him in there with Kurt Russell, and you're just like, what is happening right now? You know?
Yeah.
Like, the whole plot with his dad, with Ego, is insanely silly.
Oh, it is. And it's silly, but it's also oddly dark for the tone of that movie.
Yeah, like Guardians 3, obviously, like, the movie fits the tone of it.
Yeah. But Guardians 2 has this... Guardians 2, again, is all about family.
Well, yeah, and also, you know, this is also where they introduced Mantis.
Yep.
And God, is Mantis awful in this movie. Like, I never liked Mantis at all until she's not... Her parts in Infinity War are pretty good, you know? And then I remember seeing that and being like, oh, I fucking hate this character. Oh, okay, actually, this is okay. This makes sense. This is cool. I like how they use her powers here. She's a high point in the holiday special, but whatever reason it is in this movie, she's bad. Drax is unbearable.
Yeah.
And that's all A-plot. The whole A-plot roster, except for Nebula, is trash.
Yeah, I mean, like, for me, actually, Nebula's part of, like, the B-plot, Nebula and Gamora, because I actually like their story in Guardians 2.
Well, I was considering the B-plot to be Yondu and Rocket.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. Which is amazing. Yondu and Rocket and Groot, technically. But, yeah, Yondu and Rocket in that movie, tremendous.
Yeah.
It's like Attack of the Clones, you know? It's like, if you just stick with Obi-Wan, other than the Space Diner, amazing Star Wars story. But if you switch over to that other plot...
I really enjoyed the Nebula and Gamora stuff, though, because, like, it felt like siblings fighting it out.
Correct.
And then, blowing out some steam, and then, like, actually talking.
I agree. You know, that fight they have is probably one of the high points of that movie.
Yeah. And, I mean, Nebula, she's just one of those characters where, for me, she kind of... I like her more with every appearance.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that on Nebula, actually. Yeah. So... There's our 39.
Yeah.
Who?
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Okay, so Moon Knight is the other one we had in common.
Oh yeah.
So Moon Knight 38.
Yeah.
Oh man, this one. There's not a whole lot we got to say about this one. Not only is it like barely connected, it's less connected than X-Men 97. It's about the same connectivity as Werewolf by Night, to be honest with you.
And
that's not to say like, oh, we're shitting on it because of that. But as we've talked about before, some of the low points of the MCU are held up by the connective tissue around it.
Right.
So if you take that away, you have to nail it.
Yeah.
And Moon Knight is all over the place.
It is. This is, for me as a comic reader, this is another example of Marvel going off the reservation doing their own thing and hoping that it lands. Let me ask you this, and homers, I ask you guys this too. Answer this for yourself. According to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, what are Moon Knight's powers?
Yes. Let us know.
Yeah.
Leave it in the comments. Give us a bulleted list of Moon Knight's abilities. Naturally, Oscar Isaac just needs to stay away from comic book roles.
I don't know. What is it, man?
And it's never him.
No.
But it's just like, they're like, Oscar Isaac would be great at this. And he would, because Oscar Isaac is tremendous. But the nerdier the thing he's in is, the worse it is for him.
Yeah.
Because they were going to fucking kill him in Force Awakens originally.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, originally, he was going to die in the TIE Fighter crash. Can you imagine, like how devoid of anything interesting the rest of that would have been? I mean, it already is, but like...
That's insane, because I at least thought that they were trying to recreate the original trio.
Right.
Yeah. But that just shits all over that idea.
Well, when your main protagonist can do anything and has no flaws whatsoever, you really don't need three people.
Yeah.
When you're the best pilot,
right?
The best engineer, the best fighter, the smartest,
right.
The wisest. When you have all those,
I can tell
qualities.
you really hyped for the new Rey movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously.
Yeah, clearly.
Let me tell you, there were so many. There's just given the incredible depth of the art that character went on.
Oh man, come on!
They just left so many things, kind of dangling out there where I just really want to know like what that character's perspective is on what could happen next.
For me, it's like all the struggles that character had to go through.
Yeah.
And, just to come out on the other side of that, this changed new person with so much depth and nuance.
Revelatory.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. So, and such a flawed character. And a human, relatable character.
Yeah. Peter Parker would be an envy.
Oh, he should. They're not even in the same class.
Yeah, no, not at all. If you couldn't pick up, folks, we fucking hate that character. And I saw an article recently, and I don't mean to make light of this.
Yeah.
Daisy Ridley has some disease.
I heard about that.
And I was like, what in the Roman Reigns is this?
Oh.
I'm like, okay, take some time away from acting to take care of it. I'm sure you got a bunch of money from Star Wars.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure she's got paid a shit ton.
Well, let me rephrase that. Take some time away from being in movies to to take care of yourself.
Oh.
Get well soon. I'm sending thoughts and prayers.
Back to Moon Knight.
Yeah, back to Moon Knight.
This was a show that it had the slide effect for me. Where like it started off, I really enjoyed the first episode.
Yeah, the first 20 minutes of this, you're just like, what kind of amazing ride are they about to take?
Yeah, like let's fucking go. No Deadpool Wolverine reference intended.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And but then it kind of goes down, and for me, kind of keeps doing so until we get to the super generic finale. Yeah,
the kaiju fight, CGI kaiju fight.
Yeah.
I also the whole time could not get over that Ethan Hawke just looks like Kevin Bacon now.
He does, right?
It's very weird.
Yeah.
His villain could have been incredible in that.
Mm-hmm.
But his objective just turned out to be really terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, right. And I almost said Kevin Bacon. Goddamn.
Because he looks like Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
Ethan even talks like him.
Yeah. That character did have potential, right? And I like what they were doing with him basically being like a cult leader of sorts.
Yeah.
And I don't want to make lightly of this show because this show really did resonate with a lot of people who have DID or who have loved ones who have DID. But my thoughts about this show isn't about that. My thoughts about this show is that they had an idea or a theme for a message they wanted to share that is very important. But in order to deliver something, you need a vehicle to do so, right? And if your vehicle isn't running properly, then the message is never going to get properly delivered. Yeah. And that's what happened here. So they never really sat down and thought about who is Moon Knight, what do we want this character to be, and how do we want him to end up?
Right. And I'll be honest, there's almost no hope for him to show back up at anything, you know. Also, I don't think he would mesh well at all. I mean, not in the fish out of water way that we normally see these characters actually really work out. I just mean it really wouldn't work out.
It wouldn't, because and again, that's all on Marvel, man. He's supposed to be in vein of your Daredevil. You can see him being with Daredevil. You can see him paired with Blade. That's how you're supposed to be able to visualize Moon Knight. But what they did with him here, he's just kind of his own nebulous thing.
Yeah, he's with Trevor. Also, if you want to see, and this probably hurt my score a bit too. If you want to see a really good representation of mental health and specifically depression and DID, go read or listen to the Stormlight Archive. It is incredible. Especially as it pertains to those things. I have a friend that has DID and it has resonated with them really well. But yeah, there's a lot in there. So go and check that out. I think they did a much better job even in the first book alone, than this show. Even though I think they started out with the best of intentions, it really just, the more this show unraveled, the more you thought they were going to bring it back in together, but they didn't. They just kept unraveling.
Yeah.
And then at the end, you're like, okay, there's a kaiju fight. I'm not entirely certain how we got here, but I will watch the kaiju fight. I mean,
yeah, we're already here.
If we're going to have one.
Yeah, like, fuck it. All right.
Okay. 37 and 38. You have Loki and Miss Marvel. So let me tell you what I have.
Yeah, let me see what you got
in these spots. So I already have Guardians, and we took off Moon Knight. I actually have Thor Ragnarok and the Incredible Hulk in these spots.
Oh,
yeah. So I had Ragnarok at 40. Incredible Hulk was significantly higher. It was 37 for me.
So in terms of Ragnarok, I'll tell you this. We're at 37 now, trying to fill that slot. I have Ragnarok at 34.
Okay. Here's my argument for Ragnarok to be here.
You don't have to. But go ahead.
What?
I was like, yeah, you're going to tell me why Ragnarok deserves a low spot.
Has to be here is the active deconstruction, and not in a good way,
right,
of not the character but of our sensibilities is so bad. It's the same thing with Love and Thunder was just like, you took the few good things out of Ragnarok, you added Natalie Portman, and then you just fucked up everything. Like, with Ragnarok, it's like, this was the first time, and to this day, not as much now, but there was a good 5-year period after Ragnarok came out where you would have people tell you that it was their favorite MCU movie.
Yep.
And that was about the time, typically, that I decided I didn't want to converse with this person. And the reason that they would tell you that is because this movie is fun. Mm-hmm. And I will admit that in a vacuum, if I never heard of Thor Odinson, I never heard of Heimdall, I never heard of
the
any
Hulk
of this shit. Yeah, never heard of the Hulk. And you just set this movie in front of me, I probably would have laughed my ass off. And there are some moments that land. What comes to mind is the Bruce Banner jumping out of the fucking plane.
Hilarious.
That shit'll get me every time I watch this movie, which is honestly not much, because I don't need, like, I can be angry on my own.
Right.
I don't need help with that.
Yeah.
I indulge in these things to give myself joy,
Also, if you guys want to know when the MCU has any regrets, all you gotta do is pay attention and see what they retcon.
Yep.
And Thor lost his hammer, he got another one. Thor lost his eye, he got another one.
Yeah. Iron Man destroyed his suits, he got another one. Yeah, several, and it's really like that. You look at Ragnarok, they killed all these characters off screen. I think just the active assault on our sensibilities puts it lower than, obviously, I get that Loki breaks the character integrity for the main character, and that is a cardinal sin. I'm not going to downplay that at all. I have a much easier time turning that aspect of my brain off and going, okay, well, this is just Tom Hiddleston doing a way different take on this character, and I've accepted that, and now I'm having fun. Right. I can't do that with Ragnarok for the most part, because
it's hard to do that, because look at who he was in the Dark World or Age of Ultron.
Yeah, in Age of Ultron, he's like the most serious fucking member of the cast. Yeah,
and then look at who he is directly after Ragnarok.
He's literally chained up in hell.
Yeah, yeah,
cracking jokes and shit.
Surtur, you son of a bitch, or whatever he's. It's just. Yeah, sophomoric at times, and I get it. Like it's a fun time for all, but
they're cracking jokes about Asgard blowing up and millions of people dying.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna fight you on that, man. If you want to put Ragnarok there,
it'd be like if, as 9/11 was happening, Rudy Giuliani was on the news cracking jokes. That's the comparison.
God damn. That is apt comparison, albeit a little grim.
I mean,
yeah, man. You know me, I have no love lost for Ragnarok.
Are you okay? You gonna put it here?
I am okay with that.
I sold you on it?
Yeah, you sold me.
It was a hard sell.
Yeah, I know.
Let me tell you.
You were sweating bullets over that, man.
Yeah, I could sell blinds to a homeless man. Let me tell you. Okay, now we're gonna fight. What do you want to put at 36? Now that we got Ragnarok, I know I'm not gonna convince you to put Incredible Hulk there. Nah. Okay, so if you have to pick out of Loki and Miss Marvel, when did you actually finish Miss Marvel? Was that recent? Did you have to do it for this?
No, I made it like 2 more episodes in, and I was like, this is good.
You didn't actually watch it?
No.
Oh, the finale is really good, actually.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I won't say I loved the whole show, but I enjoyed the whole show because I take it for what it is. Yeah. Like it's clearly meant to be like a Disney Channel-esque kind of show. I actually think that this show, for all of the posturing and all this other bullshit that Guardians 2 and Black Widow try to do about family, I actually think that this show does the family aspect of things better than probably every single thing on this list, maybe other than Guardians 3. I think
tell you what then,
that aspect was great.
Because I did not finish Miss Marvel, and you did. I will concede, but for me it'll be Loki that takes that spot.
I'm not super mad about that. Loki at 36.
So I will say this: season 2 is much more enjoyable.
Oh yeah,
than season 1.
Probably like just Ouroboros in general. Like Ouroboros was the highlight of that show for me.
Yeah, and you're right. He was overall a really enjoyable character. Had they leaned into him anymore, he would have become annoying.
Agreed. It was just the right amount.
Yeah. And seeing him meet Victor Timely was that was a classic moment.
Yeah, because like they created this fucking paradox by giving him the book,
right?
You know, and like the just kind of time loop thing was really cool.
Yeah.
I gotta say, in season 2, I feel like if you sit there and try to think about the time travel, it would fuck you. But the fact that you don't have to, I thought it was really cool. I thought it was a very great example of the time travel. And I'll be honest with you, that moment in the show where he prunes himself and Sylvie's like, the fuck? And he's like, this will all make sense. I gotta be honest, I was very skeptical. I was like, I don't think it's gonna.
Right.
But it actually does. Yeah. They did a really great job with all of that in the season 2, you know?
Yeah.
It's just the integrity of the main character is the only really bad thing that this show does. And that it's number 1, you know, it's rule 1.
Yeah. And you know, I would say like this show also unfortunately suffers from the fact that it is an interlude that's supposed to get us somewhere else.
Yeah, and we're not going there.
We're not going there.
We turned off.
Yeah. So, you know, it's like you watch this really interesting. This is another case of like House of the Dragon season 2, but they didn't intend for it to be this way. You know, like this was lead up to really get us somewhere else, but that somewhere else ain't gonna happen.
We made it through the bad page.
Oh, you can get rid of the shit now.
I can get rid of the bad page. Yeah.
Oh man. All right, so let's see. You thought this would be a 3-hour episode.
Yeah, we're at 2 right now, and we're not even. This is just the first part.
Right.
Okay, so we are now that was your set, yep. 36 through 40. So
correct.
We are now at the 31 through 35. Working backwards, of course.
Oh yeah.
I just fucked myself saying that out loud.
Right.
Trying to write at the same
35
time.
through 31.
Yeah, 35 through 31. Thank you. And that's gonna piss me off because I got to 26. I'm just gonna put it there because I can't. This is the first episode. Yeah. You know, I can't. This piece of paper almost fucked me. I got to start up higher. Oh no, we don't have as many on the second one.
No, we don't. Yeah, you're right.
So
it's 2 less.
All right, so this is my block.
Yep.
35 through 31. I have.
Let me hear it.
Oh man, you're about to be really angry
with
me, actually.
Shit.
So starting at this is technically my 37, but because of what all we've crossed off, I have the Incredible Hulk, Werewolf by Night, Captain America: The First Avenger, Ant-Man. Oh, I have Miss Marvel in this block. Is that the only? Oh no! Oh no!
Okay, so I have to subtract some because the list is getting shifted around.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I printed mine out, so I've been crossing them out. So
the ones I think we haven't, because this is going to be number 35 to 31.
Yeah.
All right.
So what are your next ones?
Let's see. So we've already done Moon Knight, Black Panther 2. We've already done Ragnarok, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Ant-Man, Thor: The Dark World, Captain America: First Avenger.
Okay, so you had Dark World, Ant-Man, Cap 1, Falcon Winter Soldier, Black Panther 2.
Yep.
I'll be honest with you. I don't have... I knew that my Werewolf by Night was going to be way lower than yours. So I am at least willing to knock that back to the next block. Because I knew that you were going to rank it very high. So we'll put a pin in that one for now.
Okay.
I do want to talk about it in the next block, though.
Yeah.
But I'm fine with us pushing that back to go ahead and get it off the plate here.
All right. We actually had more in common than I thought I would at first. I had to do some editing to see that, okay, there are a few that we have.
Yeah, so Falcon and Winter Soldier was right. I had that at 31. So that was right after for me, you
know.
I'm actually really confused because so we actually got ahead of me. So this is actually my 32, 33, 34, 35, and 37 that we're working with here.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So because we've jumped around a bit. Because Loki was I had Loki at 28.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to spoil this for you. That's where I have Incredible Hulk.
Okay. I'll be honest with you, because I have it here and I know you had it lower. I am fine with Miss Marvel at 35. Okay. And I think we've already really talked about it. I mean,
yeah.
This show reinvented an unpopular character, and the MCU version of Kamala is the best version. I don't think you're going to argue with me on that.
No.
Because the other options are the comics and the video game. And the video game is fucking trash. I will be honest. A lot of this comes from the fact that I just love Iman Vellani as the I think that she does such a good job with the character.
She's perfect.
And she's a star. She has star power. People want to watch her.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they had to make her a fangirl of the opposite of that.
Yeah, I'm out of all the things you guys could have changed.
Yeah. Maybe make her Miss Marvel, she's obsessed with the Avengers.
Right, right. Yeah, going from that place.
She's just like a MCU fangirl.
Right.
You know? but
you know, we live and you learn.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like the show is full of its own kind of charm and heart, you know. And like my main thing that I've said about Miss Marvel from day one is I don't think that the show is terrible. I just don't think it's for me.
It's not. Yeah, it's really, we're not the target audience for this show.
Right.
You know.
But even with that being said, I do agree that Iman Vellani she's great as Kamala Khan. She brings that type of energy to that character that is necessary, and she's able to do so without feeling overbearing or annoying, which is really, really important.
I like her whole family. Mm-hmm. Like, they kind of they tiptoe on like a sitcom stereotype where it's like, okay, you have the overprotect. They actually kind of flipped the mom and the dad a little bit. Like, the mom is the one that's like super overprotective,
right?
And the dad is like, let her be a kid, blah blah blah. You know, and I actually enjoyed that. Her brother, they totally could have made him the fucking like Eric Matthews type character, but they really didn't with that. And I really like how they went with that. You know, with the whole angle with him, where he's kind of your you know, he's the older sibling, so he's got kind of the sagely kind of advice. But most of his advice that he gives her is like how to deal with her parents, because he's like been through all of that. Mm-hmm. I just think that with the amount of shows that do this on television and the amount of like really cringy attempts of it that we've seen elsewhere, I thought that it was always enjoyable in this show, even if that's not what I typically watch TV for. You know, not typically my thing.
I think that the show, you talk about like the connective tissue and how that really helps. I think that this show suffers from the MCU TV shows that come before it.
Right.
Because by the time Miss Marvel came out, people had kind of gotten the feel of the Disney Plus MCU shows, and they're going to be whatever.
Right.
And unless people feel inclined to watch them for a movie, they don't.
Yeah. And this has a good setup for the Marvels in it, but you don't need it, you know? So
and when this show came out, did we know? I guess we did know about the Marvels.
Oh, yeah, because there's a direct setup at the end.
Okay.
Literally, at the end, she does something like tries to use her powers, and then Carol comes out of the closet.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so they have that whole scene.
Yeah.
They also do reveal that she's the mutant in this, so that was cool. Okay, so we got Ms. Marvel at 35. We both have Cap 1, and we both have Ant-Man.
Yep.
I'll be honest, I'm leaning Ant-Man 34.
Yeah.
Because if I have to pick one of those movies, I'm going to watch First Avenger.
Yeah, I'm going to watch Cap 1. Yeah.
First Avenger is a more boring movie, I feel like, than Ant-Man. But Chris Evans still nails it.
Yeah. I think the whole main cast kind of nails it.
Yeah. Tommy Lee Jones, Haley Atwell. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously, Red Skull was tremendous in this. Right. I've really had it with period piece superhero movies. Mm-hmm. Maybe Fantastic Four will change my mind. But I'll tell you, around this time, and still to this day, if you want to set your movie in World War I, World War II, I'm not watching that shit. Like, we got 3 of those, and I didn't want any of them. I don't even like Wonder Woman.
I was going to say, well, Wonder Woman, Cap, and...
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, technically Wonder Woman 2 is in the 80s or whatever. Yeah. And I don't like it either. Right. But, I didn't... and we're about to get Vault Rising. That's set in this time frame.
Yeah, set in the 50s, right?
Oh, it is in the 50s. Yeah, that's right. I mean, close enough. But I'm good on it. Mm-hmm. You know, I didn't like the first Wonder Woman. I know a lot of people like really loved it, but that movie, it will put me right out. I can't stand it.
I still really like the first Wonder Woman movie. I mean, the third act leaves something to be desired, but anyway, we're not here to talk about Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
In terms of like Cap 1, I think this was made by the same director that made The Rocketeer.
Yes.
And you can tell
you really
by
can.
looking at it. Yeah. It's very obvious that this guy did that. But yeah, I think that I would have to put Ant-Man at 34.
Yeah.
You know?
The villain, if it comes down to the villains, there's no question.
Close.
Yeah.
It's not close.
Because like the villain in First Avenger is a highlight.
Yeah.
The villain in Ant-Man is like the low point of the movie.
Right. And, you know, I'll be honest, like this Ant-Man 1 was one of those movies where it took some time, right, for me to look back and see this movie isn't as bad as I originally thought it was. And part of that is because, like, my taste had maybe evolved or had grown as, like, a reviewer. But it's also because I had gotten so much shit that's worse.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Ant-Man ain't even that bad.
You know, I think it also, to Ant-Man and also the first Doctor Strange both suffer from this. At the time that those movies came out, people were really fed up with origin stories.
Yeah.
Like, people were just... You know, the MCU, you got to think about it. Not only was DC really trying to hit at this time, also right around the same time, you had Fox was pushing out stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Sony had just done Amazing Spider-Man, and they fucking rehashed Peter Parker's whole thing. We had seen Batman's fucking backstory like 45 times. And then, you know, the MCU is hitting us with... You know, Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, Black Widow, like all the Avengers, basically.
Yeah.
Getting hit with all their backstories. Guardians, that was a brand new, like, all big batch of backstories and whatnot. And there was a significant fatigue around, like, oh, here's another origin story. And they just had not gotten on board with that yet. Whereas now they've kind of move past that, where they try to put different spins on it or try to not make it feel like it fits that exact same formula. Two varied results. But with Fantastic Four, I'm going to need them to go back to it. You know, they need it.
I don't think they're going to get it.
Fuck. And so, yeah, I mean, this movie suffered from that sort of, you know, origin story fatigue kind of.
Yeah.
And Doctor Strange got hit with that too. It's just a much better movie.
Yeah, I agree. And you're right on that. Like, it was, because even I felt the origin story fatigue at that point, you know. It was like because at that point there were a lot of superhero movies coming out every year, and damn near every other one was an origin story.
Yeah.
And like with Ant-Man 1, my frustration was twofold. One, why would you go with the B-tier Ant-Man instead of Hank Pym?
Yeah.
And then B, why would you make this movie after Age of Ultron?
Right.
Directly after.
And there was so much stuff coming out, because this came out before Ragnarok, right?
It might have. Ragnarok was phase...
I know we were excited for Ragnarok before it came out.
Yeah.
Ragnarok's phase 3. And then... No, this is right after Age of Ultron. Yeah. It's before Ragnarok, because
so you're right, yep.
Originally Age of Ultron was going to be the end of phase 2.
Yeah.
But actually, I think Ant-Man is technically the end of phase 2.
Yep.
Which I thought was a bad decision, because once again, you just came off of an Avengers movie. Yeah. We want to know what's going to happen next, and you're dropping us off the hype cliff again.
Right.
And, you know, by that time, this is... You got to also understand, too, this is around the time where, you know, we're at the Kevin Feige's at Comic-Con with the big... You know, the now legendary timeline. Yeah, the Vault Vault X Plus timeline. And, you know, we already knew that we had Civil War coming out. We were all super hyped for that. We knew we had Ragnarok coming out. We knew we had more coming from the Guardians. We knew that we had, I think at this point in time, it was a unnamed Avengers. By then, they were calling it Avengers 3 Part 1 and 2.
Yeah.
It didn't have a subtitle yet, even. Yeah, I mean, there was just so much that was set to come out that we were really hyped for. And, you know, then we got hit with, okay, well, here's Ant-Man. And we kind of knew that it wasn't going anywhere. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah, we knew that, like, the consequences weren't going to be that high.
Yeah, the Falcon cameo was tremendous, though.
That was great, right? Because, like, no one saw that coming. Like, thankfully, they didn't put that in the trailer. You know?
Yeah. This was back when they, like wanted to keep things like that secret. So when it's like, oh yeah, we just got to break into this like warehouse and get this thing, it's like cool. And then it turns out he's breaking into the Avengers facility.
Right.
You're like, oh fuck. That kind of thing was really cool. And we had the really badass Falcon cameo. So
yeah, I mean we got that, and this was maybe the. Maybe we got a little bit of this in Endgame, but this was the main time that we saw Scott Lang being a competent character.
Yeah, we got it in Endgame and here, and that's pretty much
about it. So we
Civil War.
Yeah, I'll say that. Yeah, but man, like here we get to see that this man, he is a genius in his own right, and he's also an expert at his craft.
Right.
And it's just interesting, right? Because there are some good moments in this. Obviously, that final fight scene he has with Yellow Jacket, it's great. They're fighting in and out of like the quantum realm, and then they're also fighting on the train tracks with the
him throwing the Thomas the Tank Engine.
Come on,
it's my favorite part. Yeah,
it's fantastic. And this, like Scott Lang or Paul Rudd, like he turns on the charm, but he doesn't do it to a point where he's just Paul Rudd,
right.
Because a lot of actors can really just lean on their charm to try to get by,
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. So, Ant-Man 34.
Yeah.
Do we want to put First Avenger at 33? Because
I think
you have Black Panther 2 on here. Mm-hmm. I have that a little high, not much higher. I have it at 30.
Okay.
Falcon Winter Soldier, I had at 31.
Gotcha.
So we had those in common around this same spot. I'm going to... we pulled Werewolf by Night out for you. I'm going to pull Dark World out for me.
Okay.
So I think in this block, we are left with...
Cap 1.
Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I'd say Black Panther 2.
Yeah.
And then maybe that's 3. Incredible Hulk, you said you had higher?
28 was
right. I had it 37, so I'd be okay with that if you want to put that in one of these. But I think we both have First Avenger pretty low.
Yeah.
I have it at 34.
So now I'm questioning myself, like how much more do I like Incredible Hulk than Captain America 1?
Yeah, see that I was actually kind of flabbergasted by that one.
It's just a much. I mean, again, Cap 1, it's boring.
It is boring,
Like you watch the Ed Norton Hulk movie, it's a lot of things. It ain't boring.
No, yeah. There's a lot of head scratching, but it ain't boring.
Oh yeah. The Abomination fight is one of the most hard-hitting fight scenes, especially for that period.
The CGI is hard to look at now, but at the time it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was way better than the Eric Bana.
Oh, my fucking God. Sheesh. Yeah, homies, we reviewed that last year.
We did, and I'm still mad about it. It wasn't the worst thing we reviewed last year.
Oh, yeah, that says something.
Yeah, that's got to be the holiday special.
Oh, yeah.
The Star Wars.
We reviewed so many terrible things last year.
We really did. Yeah.
But I'll say this also. I don't think that we've ever gotten a bad Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah.
Because William Hurt, he was still Thunderbolt Ross in that Hulk movie.
Well, if right now you wanted to watch a movie and the only 2 options, all the movies on Earth got deleted except for... fucking First Avenger and Incredible Hulk. Which one are you going to watch? And it's interesting. It's interesting too, right? Because around the time they came out, let's just say that this was 5-6 years ago, you would easily look at it and go, First Avenger obviously has a way bigger impact on the MCU. They even put the trailer for First Avengers at the end of it, basically. That was the after credits scene.
Yeah.
But now it's kind of not like that, right? We have a Thunderbolts movie. Like, fucking Thunderbolt Ross is a huge part of the MCU. I mean, he's basically the co-lead in Captain America 4.
Right.
So.
Yeah. which we get another look at him because they also show. I saw the the Cap 4 trailer.
I gotta say the podium transform.
Yeah, you saw that?
As fuck.
Yeah, I couldn't picture who he looks like because I get to see like a headshot of Red Hulk. It's not Harrison Ford, but that motherfucker looks like somebody. Yeah. When I think of it, but anyways, between the two, man, it's a fucking toss up. You know what? Because you have the Hulk lore, we'll put the Hulk there.
Okay, that's very generous of you. Mm-hmm. And this is like, I would say before Civil War. Well, not before Civil War, but like, there's a point where you could watch this was like the movie that you least needed to watch. Mm-hmm. Like there was nothing
nothing really tying you to this movie
that really brought you forward, and nobody was really talking about the Hulk as like this all-star character until the first Avengers came out.
Right.
Then everyone wanted to talk about the Hulk.
Yeah.
The CGI on Ruffalo is just way more advanced than... Mm-hmm. And I actually really like Ruffalo's banner. I think it's a unique take.
His banner, to me, just kind of... It changes with the movies.
It does. I like him as Goofy Scientist.
I actually liked his Bruce Banner, honestly, most in Avengers 1.
Ah, yeah. Because he's like kind of cynical. Yeah.
Yeah, very
I like
cynical, yeah.
See, I like his Age of Ultron, where he's just... And he's kind of still that same character.
Yeah.
But in that character, in that version, he's very like, what the fuck, Tony? He's like, just because we can do this doesn't mean we should do it. Right. But I like his banner overall. But it's just, he benefits so heavily from the technology jump from Incredible Hulk to now.
Yeah, he does.
Because the mocap and everything is just way better.
Yeah. There's just something so goddamn cool and visceral about seeing the Hulk rip a car in half and use them as boxing gloves.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we got, do we want First Avenger at 32?
I think looking at our collective list, it would either have to be, that or Black Panther 2 for me.
You'd put both of those below Falcon and Winter Soldier? Because
I think I would.
Oh man, I don't know. I want to know which of these movies has a thinner plot thread than the Falcon can't get alone.
See, the problem is though there's several plot threads in Falcon and Winter Soldier to his benefit and his detriment.
Yeah, they put like David Zaslav once again is like, what the fuck are you guys doing? This is 6 seasons of television. There are literally like 6 plots in that one. What was it, 6 episodes?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
they 6.
It's like a season
right
for each thing. I mean, like you got the whole Flag Smashers plot.
Yeah. The Carly Morgenthau stuff was a little weak. I like the premise of it.
Yeah. I really love that they're going to bring
Wyatt Russell back.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I think people forget how good he was in that role.
He really was. Yeah. And then they're also going to bring, is it Elijah? Is that his name?
Oh, yeah, Elijah Bradley.
Bradley back for the new Captain America.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So that's actually in the publicly released trailer. Oh. So he's the one that tries to assassinate Ross.
Is he?
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah,
so he's got to be mind controlled then. Or something.
Right, yeah, he jumps out the window. Like in the trailer, you see him jump out the window, but you hear the shot and you hear he says like, Elijah, no. Like,
shit, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you actually see a brief shot of him. So they're bringing him back as like, he basically was trying to kill Ross.
Interesting.
He's got to be some kind of mind control, something or another. Some Giancarlo Esposito bullshit.
Right.
But I did enjoy that aspect of it, but it was just like they were trying to cram in too much shit, and then they tried to give him the Steve Rogers fucking speech at the end.
The speech was bad. The speech was very bad.
He did a good job with it.
Yeah, it's
just like that was how you wanted this to go, though. Mm-hmm. Like, when has that ever worked? Like,
right.
You know.
Let me tell you, man. Telling a bunch of like wealthy old white oligarchs they need to do better has never worked.
Yeah, Martin Luther King did that shit about 6,000 times.
Yeah, and they killed him.
And they just killed him. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is true. And the thing about Falcon and Winter Soldier is that when it first came out, I thought that it was just fucking awful. But then in retrospect, I was like, you know what? I was a little hard on it. For everything it does good, it does something bad though. You know.
And there's also the expectations of it, right? Like, we're coming right out of the end of the Infinity Saga, and everything that they announced, out of all of the stuff they announced, the thing we're most hyped about was this.
Yeah.
And it got delayed, and then it was supposed to come out first, and they put WandaVision out first, and everybody was like, WandaVision will be okay. And then it was tremendous.
Right.
And we were like, oh, fuck, well, how good is Falcon and Winter Soldier going to be? And not to mention, like, I honestly want to put First Avenger... I want to put this below First Avenger and Black Panther because of Bucky's story. Bucky's arc is so bad. It is Last Jedi level character arc where you introduce that this character has this flaw, and then things happen, and this character is present, and then a light switch flips towards the end, and that's their arc, and I hate it.
Yeah, Bucky did not have a good arc.
He has a cameo in episode 1 and episode 6.
That is what he has.
And he is just the Falcon's sidekick, other than that.
I'll be honest, man. Like, I can definitely... I think I can put it before Cap. I don't know if I can put it before Black Panther 2.
Okay. I'm not going to... I mean, I had Wakanda Forever at 30, so it's not a big stretch for me for us to put it at 32.
Gotcha.
Oh, man. We read this one together, didn't we?
I don't know.
I think we did.
We might have.
I don't know if Kevin was still around when this came out.
He was.
I definitely listened to the review. That it's hard for me to distinguish because I listen to all of them, even the ones I'm on. I always play them back.
Right.
So it's like I feel like I was in the room, but I may not have been.
I mean, Black Panther 2, it had a high hill decline. I mean, and it had unfair disadvantages, and we can't overlook those.
Yeah.
You know? How do you place Chadwick? You know. And, and according to Marvel, that's the neat part. You don't.
yeah. They're like, well, it's a really tall order, so we're not gonna. Our placement of this movie at 32 is in no way a reflection of Angela Bassett's performance.
Listen, the reason why her arms and shoulders were so defined is because she carried this goddamn movie.
She was tremendous in this.
Yeah.
She should have gotten an Oscar for this movie.
Did she get a nod?
I think she got a nomination. If not, it's a fucking crime.
Yeah.
She was so good in this movie.
Right.
And somebody had to carry it. And don't get me wrong, like,
Letitia.
Is it Letitia Wright?
Yeah, Letitia Wright. Yeah.
I don't mind her at all. Like, she was my favorite character in the first one. You know, I really loved Shuri in the first movie.
She was good in the first one.
She was never, and she was great in Infinity War too.
Yeah.
She was never supposed to be this, and it's not that she had a bad job, but like, I mean, the elephant in the room with this is always going to be that they had to right around an impossible situation. And listen, I have spent a significant portion of my life booking independent wrestling shows. So I understand the pivot, right? But like, this is the equivalent of like, your champion, it's WrestleMania, your champ's not there, his opponent's not going to be there. Nobody that is related to them is going to be there. Like,
so, you put the champ's tag team partner, you know, in the spot.
Yeah.
It's they had a rough time, man, and like, obviously I think the movie did some things very well, but there were some things that I think that the movie could have done better with or without Chadwick.
The effects in this were incredible.
I was very mixed on those.
I was okay. The underwater,
those were great to me.
Oh, see, I'm opposite. I actually thought that the whole shit where like the wave hits Wakanda, like when they actually do the siege on Wakanda, I thought that was the highlight. But I did like the underwater stuff too.
Yeah, for me it was during the final battle. It was
you with the boat?
Yeah,
I agree.
I was like, am I not supposed to notice the green screen?
Yeah. It was heavy in that last fight.
Yeah, and Ironheart's her suit was extremely out of place.
Ironheart is the opposite, is like the antithesis of Angela Bassett's character in this movie. Like Angela Bassett is way over here on the positive spectrum, and then Ironheart is on the other end, and everybody else does a really good job. Like Okoye, amazing. Shuri, amazing. M'Baku, amazing. Like they all did a really good job.
Yeah.
And I think there was a lot of hype for them to introduce Namor.
Yeah.
For some reason, his name wasn't coming to me.
Or was it something else?
Or was it something else? I didn't mind Namor in this. I did think him and Shuri's fight was excellent.
I really dug their fight. I didn't care too much for Namor in this movie.
Yeah, I know that there was some changes and whatnot that you...
Yeah.
And I will admit that it's like his opinions and stuff really seemed to be heavily based on the plot. It was contrived. You know?
Yeah. And it was, right, because it's like... Again, sometimes these movies want you to forget that there's a greater universe, and I'm like, there's nothing stopping Shuri from calling up the Avengers.
Right, yeah. And they are going to fuck you up. And you would think that like now that Wakanda is like out and about, this shit would have been on CNN.
Right.
It would have made a lot more sense
if it was still a
hidden nation. Right. It's like, well, no one knows about it, whatever. But this shit would have been on the news.
Right.
Like kind of like the giant hand coming out of.
I think that the people of 616 Marvel, like they're just so used to bullshit now. There's like whatever.
They really are. Yeah,
they don't give a shit.
All right, that's our 32.
Yep.
So Falcon and Winter Soldier here.
Yeah.
Okay.
For all the reasons we just discussed.
Yeah. We already talked about this one. Okay. All right. So I think at this point, so we're in the final stretch of this episode.
We're in the end game.
I can't believe I said 3 hours.
Right.
We're at 2.5.
And we're on
part one. Okay. So, we're back to me with this 5, right? You did this block?
I'm going to say yeah.
No, it's you.
Oh, it's me?
It was me, yeah.
Okay. All right, so we both agreed Captain America.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm okay with just slotting First Avenger at 30.
Yeah. So the ones I had next, let's see, we put a pin in Thor, the Dark World.
Yep.
Okay. So for me, that is going to put Iron Man 2. We've already done the Hulk, right? Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Iron Man 2, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Werewolf by Night.
Iron Man 2, Jessica Jones, Werewolf by Night. What else do you have? Cap. We already did Cap.
Yep, or I did Cap. Iron Man 2, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage.
Oh, okay. Luke Cage I missed. Oh, wow. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised that Werewolf by Night popped up here. I was really worried that we were going to duke it out on that one. I had Luke Cage a little. I mean, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, they weren't in this episode for me. They were just barely. Okay. So I had Werewolf by Night at 35. I had Thor: The Dark World at 27. So I think that those two, I am fine with Thor at 29 and Werewolf by Night at 28 if you want to go that route.
That works for me.
So now we got to hash out 26 and 27.
Yep.
Okay, so I have, well, I already got rid of Werewolf by Night. So my next two, so my 26, 27 would actually be WandaVision and Hawkeye.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm guessing one of those was probably not this episode for you then.
Neither of those were this episode for me. Yeah.
The problem with Jessica Jones and Luke Cage is that we have to look at the whole show. And I think Jessica Jones, for me, I'm trying to remember. I think seasons 1 and 3 were good.
Seasons 2 bring it way down.
2 is mid as fuck. And then Luke Cage, I thought was...
I actually like both seasons of Luke Cage.
Pretty consistent. Yeah. So, Hawkeye and WandaVision kind of benefit from having only the one season. So I'm actually fine with Jessica Jones 27 because season 2 is bad.
Yeah. But that's season 1, though.
Season 1 is... If it was only season 1,
oh, man,
we wouldn't be... It'd be like probably top 20, easy. Yeah. And really, 3 was not bad either. I actually really enjoyed 3.
So did I.
3 is the one with her mom, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and they do that whole thing with the raft and all that stuff. Yeah, yeah.
It was good stuff.
So now we got to figure out 26.
Now we have to figure out 26.
So you have Iron Man 2.
Yep.
Technically, Hawkeye would be here for me for... because I have it at 29. So let's do this.
So Thor: The Dark World, that's not even on this episode for you.
Yeah. Well, no, Thor was 27 for me. The thing that was not on here, I have Iron Man 2 at 20.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not think that I would have Iron Man 2 ranked lower than you.
Yeah, I enjoy Iron Man 2.
I do too. I mean, me and Kevin talk about that shit all the time.
It's not like a tremendous movie, but like it's like obviously what's the Russian villain?
Oh, Whiplash.
Yeah, Whiplash is not
right. Ain't nothing
well
right
done
about.
But Hammer makes up for it, you know. He just fucking chews the scenery through the whole movie. I mean, to me, there's like not really anything wrong with that movie. It's like a fucking really good second movie.
Yeah.
In a superhero trilogy, you introduce Rhodey and everything, and like after we got the
current Rhodey.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's been the same one the whole time. Don Cheadle's always been ready. I don't know.
What am I talking about?
There's even the scene in the first Iron Man, where he looks at the suit. He's like, next time.
Oh yeah, that was definitely Don Cheadle.
Yeah. Don Cheadle was like, next time, man. As he does.
Yes, he does. Yeah, everyone knows that's his catchphrase.
Yeah. I think we should do a fun thing since I have Hawkeye here, and you have Iron Man 2.
Yep.
I think we should flip it, and like I'll argue for Iron Man 2 and you argue for Hawkeye.
Okay, all right.
To wrap this episode up. Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
I'll go first. Okay. All right. Hawkeye was maybe the first MCU D plus show I saw that I thought was actually was A+. They had an incredible introduction for Kate Bishop, and they nailed the tone for Hawkeye, Clint, like for his character, right? Because he's feeling washed up and all that, and he's feeling like he wants to retire. But man, like they show how fucking badass he is in his own right. They drop the lines about Kingpin, which was earth shattering at the time. Like Kingpin, like he exists, and then we see him pop up in the finale. The fight scenes were great. I think that Echo was better used here than in her own show.
Yeah.
They had some excellent fight scenes, especially there's one where they're like on a bridge and they're just grabbing random arrows, and one of them is a Pym-Tech arrow, and that shit was pretty fucking cool. I thought it was well paced, well acted. I love the chemistry between the two Hawkeyes, and I love the fact that she's not this infallible, you know. Like she fucks up all the time, but you see her improve, you know what I mean, and you see why she adores Hawkeye so much. And I mean, yeah, she's one of the newer characters that I can't wait to see what they do again with. Hopefully, it's not a Young Avengers movie, but
yeah.
But anything other than that, no. I just, I mean, while the finale for me was not perfect, it was still really strong. Yeah, overall I adored the show.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it too. It's also got a Christmas vibe. It's about the time it came out.
Yeah.
It has Home Alone vibes to me, like that kind of tone. You know? I really like that. For Iron Man 2, you know, we touched on this a little bit earlier. You know, obviously Whiplash is the weak point of the movie. Hammer being the the strong point. And then, you know, Robert Downey Jr. and Don Cheadle as always, right. You know, just killing it. I really like the evolution of it here. The standout scene in this movie has got to be Tony getting wasted and him and Rhodey with the fight in the house or whatever.
Rock'em Sock'em Robot style.
Yeah. You know, this was all really good. All the trouble that he got in with the government. I really love the Congress scene towards the beginning. Yeah. You know, that pilot survived.
Yeah. Looking at the hammer guy in the hammer tech suit.
Yeah. I want you to know that pilot survived.
Yeah.
I bet.
The suitcase suit was also amazing.
Oh, yeah, that was so good. That actually whole scene with when they introduced Whiplash was incredible. I mean, him, you know, doing the whip and like the just cutting the car in half as it was going down the street or whatever. Really, really good. It's just a great second movie. Like that with any TV show, the second one is the second season, hardest one to do. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of that comes down to superhero movies too. It's like the second movie is typically going to make or break you.
Right.
You know, you're either going to fuck it up or you're going to nail it, and that's going to determine how your franchise goes. Thankfully, Guardians recovered, you know?
Right.
Because I'm going to tell you, Guardians 2 is the only thing that has them in it that's in this second half. You know, in this first half, rather. Mm-hmm. The bottom half. And yeah, for that reason, I mean, I had it ranked way up higher than this just because it's just a really enjoyable time. We got the Black Widow introduction. She got her hallway scene that I really loved. The scene with Happy or whatever, where she's like supposed to be just like a secretary or some shit. And he tried. What is it? She arm
She arm bars him.
Yeah. She like hip tossed him into an arm bar, basically.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it was a judo toss.
Judo throw into an arm bar.
Yeah. I just found this movie to be really enjoyable. If there is a weak spot to it, it is definitely Whiplash.
Yeah. Okay, so this is where we need a third party.
I know.
Yeah. Okay, so
I'm actually going to give you this one. I'm cool with Iron Man 2 here.
Yeah. Okay.
Because as you were talking about Hawkeye, I just remembered how much I really like that show. Because it was really good, man. Even like the LARPing part was really good.
Yeah.
Well, that's it.
That is it for part one.
I'll run down them real quick. Starting at 52, we have this is the MCU bottom half. We have Ant-Man 2, or Ant-Man and the Wasp, technically. We have Thor: Love and Thunder, She-Hulk, Iron Man 3, Iron Fist, Captain Marvel, Eternals, Ant-Man Quantumania, Black Widow, Echo, Defenders, Secret Invasion. That's 52 through 41. Starting at number 40, we have The Marvels, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Moon Knight, Thor Ragnarok. That actually made it up higher than I thought it was.
Right.
Loki, Miss Marvel, Ant-Man, The Incredible Hulk, Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever, and Falcon and Winter Soldier. Starting at number 30, we got Captain America: The First Avenger, Thor 2: The Dark World, Werewolf by Night, Jessica Jones, and Iron Man 2. So that is our bottom half, and we will be putting out the top 25. For us, it's going to be in a couple minutes, but
for you guys,
you're going to have to wait. We're going to House of the Dragon you just a bit.
Just a little bit. At least we gave y'all something.
Yeah, you're not going to have to wait 2 years for it.
Yeah, we promise.
We're going to, like, edge you there, and then, like, just got to go to the bathroom real quick.
Yeah. So, homies, that is the bottom half of our MCU rankings. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Let us know what you think so far. But also, let us know what you guys think should be for the top half. I really want to hear what you guys have to say about this.
Yeah, you guys should make your own list. I'm very eager to look at them and tell you why ours is better.
Well, that's going to be all for now. But, homies, we will see you guys again very soon. Caleb and I are going to have a fist fight in the parking lot as we talk about our top 5. And then we'll be back. But that would be all for this part. Homies, we'll see you guys again very soon. But until then, my name is Superhero Homie Q.
And I'm Superhero Homie Caleb.